The great period of peace came to an end. Goku and the Z Warriors will have new limits to overcome. The universe is no longer the same. Goku will have to overcome his limits. And in the great game the gods created, mortals are but pawns. It seems the gods want to play again. The most incredible battle of all time is about to begin.
I better get them out of here so they don't destroy everything.
Do you really think you can challenge a god?
This time will be different. We won't be just entertainment for them. Now I'm the one who makes the rules. It's gonna be awesome.
After the defeat of Android Perfect Cell Max, Gohan managed to achieve extraordinary powers where many wondered if he had surpassed Goku's powers. Gohan Beast Mode 2 impresses everyone by showing his true form. Gohan's Beast Mode embodies the Supreme God and humiliates Goku and Beerus in front of everyone. Speak up, my partner, alright? So whack that like button, subscribe here on the channel so you don't miss any video related to our universe of Z Warriors. Without further ado, let's get straight to the point. Universe 7, Planet Earth, Goku's house. Goku and Vegeta found themselves in another training session alongside Beerus and Whis. While Earth was in charge of being brought to peace by Gohan's side, Piccolo and the other Z Warriors. Goku and Vegeta were with their powers much higher, but they didn't expect Gohan to be showing more skills and more powers than in the past. Many things ended up being developed within the whole story. Gohan has a dream. Gohan kept training to show all his power, because even his final transformation to me was not the limit of his strength. At that moment, Gohan believed that he could get stronger and stronger until the moment he starts to hear a voice whispering in his ear. That voice says, "Gohan, it's time for us to start acting. They will still be able to take everything from you. You are more powerful than all of this. The time has come for you to show your true power. Come on, Gohan. Show now everything you are capable of. Come on. Show the true power of a god. The power of the one who is above everything and everyone, Gohan. The Saiyan hybrid child." Gohan starts to wonder who is talking. Who are you anyway? The voice answers, "I am you, your greatest power that is sleeping inside you." Gohan wakes up. Gohan starts talking to Videl. Videl says,
"After you showed incredible powers against the new Cell, you were a little different."
Gohan responds, "I think I'm still learning to control all these powers of mine. Unlike before, I only fought to want to bring justice. But now it seems like as a Saiyan, I fight so that I can get stronger just for the pleasure of fighting. Am I really getting the way my father is? And is my Saiyan hybrid side talking much louder than the others? It seems to be a little crazy when I think that for most of my life I was trained by Mr. Piccolo and my mother just wanted me to stay calm, studying, and now it seems I can't wait for moments of struggle. I want to get stronger and stronger." Piccolo arrives at Gohan's house and calls him to train. Piccolo says, "Come on, Gohan, the time has come." Piccolo and Gohan every day did a series of trainings so that Gohan wouldn't get rusty. After they defeated Perfect Cell Max, Gohan said, "Mr. Piccolo, we have to train more and more. After all, we don't know to what extent new threats can show. So you already know, let's really show our true powers." Gohan begins to raise even more heavenly power. After training, Piccolo begins to notice an extreme difference in Gohan's energy. He appeared to be Divine Ki. Meanwhile, directly on planet Beerus, while Goku, Vegeta and Beerus were carrying out their training, everyone stopped training and began to observe a huge difference in power that was happening on Earth. Whis starts laughing and says, "Mr. Beerus, looks like we'll have a visitor here soon." Beerus responds, "I'm already realizing that we will have a very interesting news. Apparently, the games will start." Goku and Vegeta didn't quite understand what was happening. Back to planet Earth. Gohan says, "Mr. Piccolo, I think it's time we asked whether the training we're doing is greater than the training of the gods. I once fought my father only when he had my ultimate form and was defeated, but now I'm sure I could defeat him." Gohan asks Piccolo to help him communicate directly with Whis so that they can get to the planet Beerus. Beerus at first does not accept and says, "How do these mortals think they can enter my planet? My planet is a sacred planet that only powerful gods and beings can enter with my permission." Whis watches and speaks. "Mr. Beerus, don't be so rude. Don't be so angry about it. Let them in. They don't mean to harm anyone. They just want to test a little of their powers. Goku and Vegeta are here. It will be interesting." Beerus responds angrily, "Let it be then, Whis." Whis teleports Gohan and Piccolo to the planet Beerus. Goku watches and speaks. "Gohan, for a long time. It's been a long time since I saw you. But I heard that you managed to protect Earth and soon after defeated Cell himself. Does that mean Cell came back stronger? You must have gotten a lot more powerful." Gohan watches and speaks. "Yes, Daddy, for sure I got stronger and maybe even stronger than you." Vegeta smiles and says, "What arrogance! Does that mean that you are so sure of your power? Well, come fight me." Piccolo interrupts Vegeta and speaks, "With you soon I will fight. It seems that Gohan wants a rematch with his father as he has shown great powers and great developments in the past. So, let's analyze all this that will happen. Gohan sure has a lot more powers to show, and I'm sure his development in battle has increased a lot more. Believe! This Gohan is not the same Gohan as before. He is a totally different being." At that moment, Goku and Gohan prepare to fight. Gohan says, "Father, it won't be as easy for you to defeat me as before. Let's start." Gohan activates his Super Saiyan form and Goku also activates the same transformation. The two start to fight and have an amazing fight until the moment that Goku says, "Won't you show all your might at once like you did last time?" Gohan smiles and replies, "Why would I show all my power if I don't need to use it right now? If you don't show more than that, I guarantee you won't be able to beat me, Dad." At that moment, Goku activates the Super Saiyan 2 and gets a little angry. As Gohan continues to utilize his Super Saiyan form, Goku notes that Gohan has managed to get much stronger than before because he hasn't even used his ultimate form. Gohan smiles and activates his ultimate form, starting to take a huge advantage over Goku. However, Goku directly activates Super Saiyan Blue combined with Kaioken augmented 100 times. The battle starts to get tougher. Beerus starts to get interested and says, "It seems that Son Goku's son is much stronger than before. This fight is getting really interesting." The battle starts to get more and more intriguing. We can see that Gohan is smiling. Gohan speaks, "Come on, Dad, do you think I'm not worthy of you to use your Ultra Instinct?" Goku starts to smile and says, "If this is what you want now, you will know the true strength of the being that is acclaimed the mortal who can perform the technique that the gods have the most difficulties with." At that moment, Goku activates the Ultra Instinct. Gohan starts to smile and says, Very interesting your transformation, but now you will know the true power of hybrid Saiyan essence. Gohan activates his final form. Beerus and everyone else starts to become surprised. Silver hair, red eyes. It reminds me of a person from the past. Is this boy? Is it not possible? If this really is real and he unleashes all his strength, Lord Goku won't stand a chance. Furious Vegeta says, "This boy in the past had already shown incredible powers. He saved the Earth in a situation where we were in no position to defeat the enemy. He was extremely powerful, and now from what I'm seeing, this boy really still managed to get stronger." Piccolo says, "He didn't stop training for a moment, so now he can do amazing things." Goku started to fight with his Ultra Instinct, while Gohan showed great mastery with his Beast Mode. The battle started to get more and more intriguing until the moment when Goku started to have a little advantage because Gohan started to feel a little pain in his head. Goku says, "Come on Gohan, what's going on with you? Show your power soon. Is that all?" Gohan starts to hear the voice in his head again. The voice says, "You are superior to all of this. You are superior to all these beings. Come on, show what you're really capable of." Gohan's power starts to explode more and more. His hair grows out of his shirt and rips. Gohan begins to have the pupil of his eye completely whitish and red streaks on his body. Gohan teleports behind Goku and hangs him, saying, "Look, Dad, I think now that I'm going to put you to sleep." Vegeta is impressed and speaks, "What kind of transformation is this?" Piccolo is also surprised and says, "I confess that I had not seen this transformation. I don't know what's going on with Gohan." Beerus asks, "What is this? Come on, explain, Whis." Whis starts to smile and speaks, "It seems that Son Goku's son has the power of the Saiyan Supreme God, that God that surpasses even Yamoshi's strength. It seems that not only Lord Goku, but all of us are in a sticky situation right now." Gohan looks at Goku and says, "Well, I don't know what to do. If I must defeat all of you here now, I believe that first I will defeat you, Father, and the next will be Mr. Beerus. Then I'll decide what I'm gonna do with this whole universe." Goku watches and speaks, "Gohan, what are you talking about? This cannot happen." Everyone was impressed with the transformation that Gohan showed against Goku. Some believed it to be the Beast Mode 2 transformation, but at another point, we seemed to look at things in a very different way. Vegeta says, "What is Kakarot thinking? Will he be defeated by his son? Has this boy really managed to surpass the powers of Ultra Instinct? What's happening? Not even Piccolo knew of these powers." At that moment, many things began to unfold in a totally different way. Gohan had received extremely high powers after hearing a whisper in his head, causing him to increase his powers even more. Gohan is developing the most powerful energy. Gohan hangs Goku and says, "Dad, looks like I'm over you this time, but now I will rebuild everything. I don't know what is happening to me, but I feel that with this power, I can rule the universe." Goku watched and spoke, "Gohan, what's going on? Let's end this fight. What is this story about wanting to organize the universe? You are showing a new look and a new personality. What is really happening to you?" At that moment, Beerus begins to observe and says, "This kid is fighting really well, but apparently after he activated this new transformation, his personality started to change completely. What is he doing?" Whis is watching. Beerus says, "Whis, you know what's going on, don't you? Speak soon. What is happening to this boy's body?" Whis laughs and says, "Without a doubt, white hair, red eyes, whitish pupils, muscle mass greater than a normal human being, and red streaks on the body. It is certainly from the 8th Supreme God. At that moment, Beerus says, "What? This can only be madness. I thought the legend of this one wasn't false, and you're saying that the 8th Supreme God is in this boy's body?" Whis says, "I think the situation is even worse, Sir Beerus. This boy is actually the reincarnation of the 8th Supreme God. It seems that this will put us in a very complicated situation." At that moment, Gohan releases Goku and starts putting his hands on his head. Planet Beerus starts to collapse whole. Beerus uses sealing magic on Gohan. Gohan starts to take a deep breath and says, "This barrier won't stop me here for long. You know that very well, Sir Beerus. Meanwhile, I will reflect and think what my next act will be before ruling the entire universe." At that moment, Goku returns to his normal state and asks Whis, "Mr. Whis, what's going on with Gohan?" Whis responds, "Well, for you to understand what is happening to your child's body, first we will have to talk about this appearance of him, which is the same appearance of the Supreme God." Whis on the planet Beerus began to tell everything that had happened. Whis says, "This was all a millennia ago in the First Heavenly War." Flashback to the First Celestial War. At this time, great battles take place due to the conflict between the heavenly rulers. The great priest was still in training, just as Mere is in training to become an angel. The great priest fought a lot. He was always ahead of all the enemies that appeared there. There were 8 beings who were extremely powerful and were considered to be the Supreme Gods. The Supreme Gods go far beyond the normal gods and also the gods of destruction. There was the being who was the creator of Zeno-sama, and he was very strong. When the battle began in the Celestial War, many believed that there would be no escape, and several angels were killed in this war to protect the true creators of existence. But these 8 gods, no matter how many angels fought together, none of those gods were defeated. The battles became more and more intriguing until the moment when the 8th Supreme God appeared and laid waste to a gigantic horde of angels. The High Priest was regarded as a prodigy, and it was at this time that the High Priest managed to perform the secret technique of planetary devastation and caused 7 of the Supreme Gods to be sealed. In an unprecedented battle, the 8th Supreme God became very furious and simply arrived and began to fight in a life and death struggle against the Great Priest. The Great Priest had been at a great disadvantage in the battle until the moment when he was about to be defeated. However, he had the help of another horde of angels that still remained. All these angels gave their power to the Great Priest. Daishinkan said, "Supreme God, I know that for you, I can just be an angel apprentice, and you're used to defeating us all. You really wanted to consider yourself the destroyer of the universe since you couldn't dominate it. You wanted to defeat everything and everyone. This power was literally incredible power. At various times, I felt that you could be the victor in this celestial war. I know it's not the first time there's been a war, and I know it won't end now. One day you will still want to come back, but until that day happens, you will be destroyed." At that moment, the Great Priest with the power of all the angels used the planetary devastation and destroyed the 8th Supreme God. Until then, we believed that the 8th Supreme God had been killed by the High Priest. They usually say the Supreme Gods only reincarnate in the strongest. Back to the current moments. Whis says, "We've been saying for a while that Lord Goku was the reincarnation of Yamoshi, the first Saiyan God. So it means that this boy has an even greater potential than Mr. Goku and Mr. Vegeta. That's why he managed to activate all that power. This is going to be incredible. So that means things are going to get pretty intense." Beerus says, "We're going to need to be very careful. What is this boy going to do? Okay, let's resolve this situation." At that moment, a huge explosion happens on the planet Beerus. Gohan manages to break free from the ceiling. Gohan says, "Looks like the sealing technique is over." Gohan had already deactivated his Beast Mode 2 form. Gohan says, "Guys, I don't know what's happening to me, but I will not fight you now. I think I have business with the great priest that is far beyond me. This comes from the past." Goku says, "Gohan, won't you get out of here?" At that moment, Piccolo speaks. "Gohan, think about it. Let's resolve this situation and let's understand what's happening to you." Gohan teleports behind Piccolo and says, "Thank you so much for all the training, Sir Piccolo, but now a force within me is saying I need to get started." Gohan uses teleportation again and leaves planet Beerus. Goku watches and says, "When did Gohan learn the teleportation technique?" Vegeta speaks. "Damn Kakarot, he could only be Kakarot's son. That couldn't happen." Whis speaks. "Mr. Goku and Mr. Vegeta, I believe the two of you will have to undergo training to stop Lord Goku's son. If he really does what I'm thinking, the future of the universe is in serious jeopardy." Beerus says, "Maybe I have to destroy him. After all, my role is that of a god of destruction." Goku interrupts. "Don't do that, Sir Beerus, please." Whis starts to laugh and says, "Lord Beerus knows very well that if Gohan is embodied in the 8th Supreme God, not even Lord Beerus will be able to defeat him. What is Gohan doing now?" Zeno-sama's palace. Gohan teleports directly to Zeno's palace. At that moment, Gohan arrives and sees the Great Priest at the entrance of the palace. The Great Priest says, "I know you are the son of Sengoku, but I feel an ancient energy coming from you. How can I help you here?" Gohan smiles and says, "Great Priest, I don't know what's happening to me, but you must have answers. The only thing I know is that I need to end you." The Great Priest starts to smile and stares at Gohan. "You see, I know that voice and I know that ancestral energy. What audacity, 8th Supreme God." To be continued. What is going on? Gohan's personality has changed. Will Gohan be able to perform this transformation and still control this power? What is Gohan's true goal? Regardless of what it is, it's more than important that you come out here in your comment so we can get into a crazy debate. Whack that like button and subscribe to the channel, and also turn on the notification bell so that you don't miss any new updates from this channel. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye. Goku and Vegeta began to undergo arduous training on the planet Beerus to awaken their true latent powers. Due to the great catastrophes that were happening in the universe after the reincarnation of the Supreme God had showed himself to be Gohan, and he had gone to meet directly with the High Priest. Since that moment, a major collapse has taken place and a barrier has been created inside Zeno-sama's palace, and so far we don't know what happened. Goku, hearing the explosion that seemed to be light years away from the planet Beerus, wanted to solve the situation, but knew that his powers were far inferior to that of the Supreme God. Whis makes a proposal to Goku and Vegeta. "Mr. Goku and Mr. Vegeta, you want to get stronger and get Goku's son back, right? The only thing you need to do is get stronger, and for that, you will have to overcome the powers of many celestial beings, because this battle could be the decisive battle of your life." At that moment, Goku says, "Sir Whis, I'm sure we Saiyans have no limits to our strengths. I'm going to get much stronger and I'll be able to bring Gohan back before Mr. Zeno decides to make some other kind of decision." Whis watches and speaks. "Very well, good luck, because you will need it." Planet Beerus. Vegeta says, "Mr. Whis, I want to get stronger. After all, I can't be left behind Kakarot, let alone your son." Whis smiles and says, "Mr. Vegeta, pay close attention. You have the Ultra Ego. This power works in a totally different way than the Ultra Instinct. This time I have a suggestion for you to save time, because with every second that passes, things start to get more and more intense within other universes. We don't know what Gohan embodied in the 8th god is doing, nor do we know if he has started a battle against the High Priest. If this boy is a reincarnation of the Supreme God, this entire power is his alone, but the lack of control can cause catastrophic things to be created. The same way Broly showed his powers and he just didn't run away from his sanity, so he needed to know how to control his anger. I'm thinking about the best way for training you, Mr. Vegeta, the same way I'm thinking about Mr. Goku. But I don't think it makes any sense for me to train the two of you now. You two already possess the true techniques for martial arts. Beerus starts watching and says, "Whis, maybe it's time to take them to that place." Whis starts to laugh and says, "Are you sure, Sir Beerus?" Goku and Vegeta don't understand what Beerus was trying to say. At that moment, Beerus speaks. "Surely, you must know the room of time in the temple of Kami-sama. After all, you trained there for years and managed to become much stronger. That there can be considered as another dimension. There is also the empty dimension where Frieza was able to achieve his black form. This form of Frieza had truly surpassed the power of the two of you, but now things got more intense. There are some powers that can only be mastered for both Ultra Ego and Ultra Instinct when training in the God dimension is carried out." Goku doesn't understand and speaks. "Dimension of the gods? I didn't even know it existed." Whis starts laughing and says, "But there is. You have to understand that within all universes there are different training dimensions. Time passes very slowly without aging the one who is there. On Earth, you own Kami-sama's time rule. In Galaxy number 7, there is the empty dimension that was where Frieza trained. But here on the planet Beerus, there is the Room of the Gods. In the Room of the Gods, time passes slowly, just like in the Room of Time. But to be able to survive in it, the user's divine ki needs to be extremely high, because otherwise their energy ends up being drained more and more, so the user ends up going to death. You don't have much choice. Either you resolve this situation in this training, or you will simply die. What will your decision be?" Goku watches and speaks. "Mr. Whis, I will train in the dimension of the gods." Moments after, Vegeta speaks. "If Kakarot is going to enter this training, so will I. I'm already very angry with his son. I didn't even get a chance to fight him." Whis smiles and takes Goku and Vegeta to train in the God dimension. This very dimension climate, combined with the energy of the destitute Ultra Ego, it felt like an energy never seen before. At that moment, Goku and Vegeta start training. Goku says, "Vegeta, seems like the time here is totally different and I feel very strange energies. It feels like an energy of Ultra Instinct and Ultra Ego that dwell in one place." A great light appears in the body of Goku and Vegeta and they end up being separated. At that moment, a distorted version of Goku and Vegeta appears in front of the original. Goku says, "But what is it that is happening? I'm not understanding anything." Out of the Room of the Gods, Whis starts watching and says, "Will they get Mr. Beerus?" Beerus watches and speaks. "This is very complicated to say. After all, it's a technique that even I have a hard time using." Whis says, "In fact, the angels cannot possess this ability. After all, we only possess the mastery of self-movement. But the mastery of self-movement, when it is combined in just one being alone with the Ultra Ego, brings about the birth of the strongest warrior. It is said that the being who manages to achieve this power will be able to defeat any enemy. Well, let's see what they will do." Vegeta fights the distorted Goku, who uses his mastery of Ultra Instinct. Vegeta activates his Ultra Ego and with great speed begins to attack. Great battles began to take place. Vegeta activates his Ultra Ego and says, "You can only be kidding. This Kakarot appearing in front of me seems to have even more powers than the original. Is this really the training place that takes place in the Room of the Gods? What are they planning here?" Goku starts fighting the distorted Vegeta who had appeared using Ultra Ego. Goku says, "What is Mr. Beerus trying to do? I cannot understand. Why is he making us fight other versions of ourselves? What's the point of it?" At that moment, Goku begins to reason in the battle and says, "Maybe it is that. Vegeta, I think I already know what they want. Maybe if we learned our techniques that we got from the gods, we would achieve a new power." At that moment, Goku starts trying to develop the energy of destruction that was Ultra Ego energy. After Goku tried to activate the Ultra Ego, his body felt a huge collapse and Goku fell to the ground in immense pain. Vegeta says, "You should already know, Kakarot, that there is a great conflict between the energy of destruction and the pure mastery of Ultra Instinct. These two powers do not combine. If we try to do that, our bodies will explode." Days and days go by, and every time Goku tries to activate his Ultra Instinct combined with his Ultra Ego body, he starts to feel a lot of pain. When Goku tries to combine Ultra Ego, the wear is even greater. More days pass, and Goku smiles and says, "This time I will make it." A big explosion happens. Goku starts fighting the fake Vegeta with Ultra Ego. Goku burns his energy to the max. Outside the Hall of the Gods, Beerus and Whis sense a big difference what was happening there. Whis says, "What could have happened?" Moments after, a great tremor in the Room of the Gods occurs. Beerus says, "This can only be a joke. You ended up destroying the Room of the Gods. To rebuild such a room will take me months." At that moment, Vegeta with his totally exhausted body was feeling fascinated. Soon after, Goku started to smile and says, "I think we got it, Mr. Beerus and Mr. Whis." Whis is surprised and says, "How so? What happened? Did you manage to master this technique?" Vegeta starts laughing and talks. "It looked like we were going to die until the moment I saw that Kakarot pushed his energy to the max to manage to combine the mastery of Ultra Instinct alongside his Ultra Ego, and his skin was different. Scratches appeared on his body and his hair started to get spiky. That transformation was incredible. Apart from that, cracks in time began to be created. Shortly after Kakarot had this transformation, he fell down and became unconscious. It took me days to raise that same power. I knew I could get stronger because I'd seen him show this transformation. Right after I achieved this new form and after my power was taken more and more, how did I not know how to destroy and how to return? From that room of time, I just had to create a time rift and destroy it. I'm sorry, but now I think we're ready." Whis is fascinated. Beerus says, "Vegeta, you pay me, so you're the one who destroyed the Room of Time." At that moment, a great light-year tremor appears. Everyone is scared. The palace of Zeno-sama. Zeno wakes up from his dream and says,
"Great priest, who is this guy?"
Zeno-sama begins to face Gohan embodied in the Supreme God. Back to planet Beerus. Beerus gets serious and says, "Looks like it's about to start. Glad you managed to get stronger." Goku and Vegeta began to undergo arduous training on the planet Beerus to awaken their true latent powers. Due to the great catastrophes that were happening in the universe after the reincarnation of the Supreme God had showed himself to be Gohan, and he had gone to meet directly with the High Priest. Since that moment, a major collapse has taken place and a barrier has been created inside Zeno-sama's palace, and so far we don't know what happened. Goku, hearing the explosion that seemed to be light years away from the planet Beerus, wanted to solve the situation, but knew that his powers were far inferior to that of the Supreme God. Whis makes a proposal to Goku and Vegeta. Mr. Goku and Mr. Vegeta, you want to get stronger and get Goku's son back, right? The only thing you need to do is get stronger, and for that, you will have to overcome the powers of many celestial beings, because this battle could be the decisive battle of your life. At that moment, Goku says, Sir Whis, I'm sure we Saiyans have no limits to our strengths. I'm going to get much stronger, and I'll be able to bring Gohan back before Mr. Zeno decides to make some other kind of decision. Whis watches and speaks. Very well, good luck, because you will need it. Planet Beerus, Vegeta says, Mr. Whis, I want to get stronger. After all, I can't be left behind Kakarot, let alone your son. Whis smiles and says, Mr. Vegeta, pay close attention. You have the Ultra Ego. This power works in a totally different way than the Ultra Instinct. This time I have a suggestion for you to save time, because with every second that passes, things start to get more and more intense within other universes. We don't know what Gohan embodied in the 8th God is doing, nor do we know if he has started a battle against the High Priest. If this boy is a reincarnation of the Supreme God, this entire power is his alone, but the lack of control can cause catastrophic things to be created. The same way Broly showed his powers and he just didn't run away from his sanity, so he needed to know how to control his anger. I'm thinking about the best way for training you, Mr. Vegeta, the same way I'm thinking about Mr. Goku. But I don't think it makes any sense for me to train the two of you now. You two already possess the true techniques for martial arts. Beerus starts watching and says, Whis, maybe it's time to take them to that place. Whis starts to laugh and says, Are you sure, Sir Beerus? Goku and Vegeta don't understand what Beerus was trying to say. At that moment, Beerus speaks. Surely, you must know the Room of Time in the Temple of Kami-sama. After all, you trained there for years and managed to become much stronger. That there can be considered as another dimension. There is also the empty dimension where Frieza was able to achieve his black form. This form of Frieza had truly surpassed the power of the two of you, but now things got more intense. There are some powers that can only be mastered for both Ultra Ego and Ultra Instinct when training in the God dimension is carried out. Goku doesn't understand and speaks. Dimension of the Gods? I didn't even know it existed. Whis starts laughing and says, But there is. You have to understand that within all universes there are different training dimensions. Time passes very slowly without aging the one who is there. On Earth, you own Kami-sama's time room. In Galaxy number 7, there is the empty dimension that was where Frieza trained. But here on the planet Beerus, there is the Room of the Gods. In the Room of the Gods, time passes slowly, just like in the Room of Time. But to be able to survive in it, the user's divine ki needs to be extremely high, because otherwise their energy ends up being drained more and more, so the user ends up going to death. You don't have much choice. Either you resolve this situation in this training, or you will simply die. What will your decision be? Goku watches and speaks. Mr. Whis, I will train in the dimension of the gods. Moments after, Vegeta speaks. If Kakarot is going to enter this training, so will I. I'm already very angry with his son. I didn't even get a chance to fight him. Whis smiles and takes Goku and Vegeta to train in the God dimension. This very dimension climate, combined with the energy of the destitute Ultra Ego, it felt like an energy never seen before. At that moment, Goku and Vegeta start training. Goku says, Vegeta, seems like the time here is totally different and I feel very strange energies. It feels like an energy of Ultra Instinct and Ultra Ego that dwell in one place. A great light appears in the body of Goku and Vegeta and they end up being separated. At that moment, a distorted version of Goku and Vegeta appears in front of the original. Goku says, "But what is it that is happening? I'm not understanding anything." Out of the room of the gods, Whis starts watching and says, "Will they get Mr. Beerus?" Beerus watches and speaks. "This is very complicated to say. After all, it's a technique that even I have a hard time using." Whis says, "In fact, the angels cannot possess this ability. After all, we only possess the mastery of self-movement. But the mastery of self-movement, when it is combined in just one being alone with the Ultra Ego, brings about the birth of the strongest warrior. It is said that the being who manages to achieve this power will be able to defeat any enemy. Well, let's see what they will do." Vegeta fights the distorted Goku, who uses his mastery of Ultra Instinct. Vegeta activates his Ultra Ego and with great speed begins to attack. Great battles began to take place. Vegeta activates his Ultra Ego and says, "You can only be kidding. This Kakarot appearing in front of me seems to have even more powers than the original. Is this really the training place that takes place in the room of the gods? What are they planning here?" Goku starts fighting the distorted Vegeta who had appeared using Ultra Ego. Goku says, "What is Mr. Beerus trying to do? I cannot understand. Why is he making us fight other versions of ourselves? What's the point of it?" At that moment, Goku begins to reason in the battle and says, "Maybe it is that. Vegeta, I think I already know what they want. Maybe if we learned our techniques that we got from the gods, we would achieve a new power." At that moment, Goku starts trying to develop the energy of destruction that was Ultra Ego energy. After Goku tried to activate the Ultra Ego, his body felt a huge collapse and Goku fell to the ground in immense pain. Vegeta says, "You should already know, Kakarot, that there is a great conflict between the energy of destruction and the pure mastery of Ultra Instinct. These two powers do not combine. If we try to do that, our bodies will explode." Days and days go by, and every time Goku tries to activate his Ultra Instinct combined with his Ultra Ego body, he starts to feel a lot of pain. When Goku tries to combine Ultra Ego, the wear is even greater. More days pass and Goku smiles and says, "This time I will make it." A big explosion happens. Goku starts fighting the fake Vegeta with Ultra Ego. Goku burns his energy to the max. Outside the Hall of the Gods, Beerus and Whis sense a big difference what was happening there. Whis says, "What could have happened?" Moments after, a great tremor in the room of the gods occurs. Beerus says, "This can only be a joke. You ended up destroying the room of the gods. To rebuild such a room will take me months." At that moment, Vegeta with his totally exhausted body was feeling fascinated. Soon after, Goku started to smile and says, "I think we got it, Mr. Beerus and Mr. Whis." Whis is surprised and says, "How so? What happened? Did you manage to master this technique?" Vegeta starts laughing and talks. "It looked like we were going to die until the moment I saw that Kakarot pushed his energy to the max to manage to combine the mastery of Ultra Instinct alongside his Ultra Ego, and his skin was different. Scratches appeared on his body and his hair started to get spiky. That transformation was incredible. Apart from that, cracks in time began to be created. Shortly after Kakarot had this transformation, he fell down and became unconscious. It took me days to raise that same power. I knew I could get stronger because I'd seen him show this transformation. Right after I achieved this new form and after my power was taken more and more. How did I not know?
how to destroy and how to return. From that room of time, I just had to create a time rift and destroy it. I'm sorry, but now I think we're ready.
Whis is fascinated. Beerus says,
Vegeta, you pay me, so you're the one who destroyed the room of time.
At that moment, a great light-year tremor appears. Everyone is scared. The palace of Zeno-sama. Zeno wakes up from his dream and says,
Great priest, who is this guy?
Zeno-sama begins to face Gohan embodied in the Supreme God. Back to planet Beerus. Beerus gets serious and says,
Looks like it's about to start. Glad you managed to get stronger.
Goku and Vegeta break through the limits of their strength once again. Goku, after performing training alongside Vegeta in the room of the gods of the planet of destruction, Goku began to show the weather god transformation. A transformation that was capable of creating temporal rifts within the universe. Would this be the skill needed to defeat the 8th Supreme God that was in Gohan's body so far? Is Gohan the reincarnation of the Supreme God? But are there still some enemies behind at all? What will happen within this battle? Alright partner, why don't you leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any of our videos in the future on the entire Dragon Ball and Z Warriors universe. Let's get right to the point. Zeno-sama's palace. Gohan faced the Great Priest. Gohan says, Great Priest, I'm not sure why I'm here, but I'm sure I need to defeat you. At least grant me a battle with you. The Great Priest began to laugh and says, What audacity! This celestial energy reminds me a lot of the one who challenged me one day, and that I had to use a great power called planetary devastation to be able to send him to the next world. Is it not true, 8th Supreme God? Gohan starts laughing and says, Very well, let's get started. Gohan activates his ultimate form. Soon after, he rages even more, activating the beast mode power. The Great Priest starts to laugh and says, It seems that Son Goku's son actually possesses extremely high powers. Let's see what you can show here. Gohan tries to use the mastery of self-movement and tries to land several blows on the High Priest, but the High Priest dodges with great speed and says, You must know that I am among the most powerful in the universe, so you would need a lot more than that to beat me. Gohan starts laughing and says, Well, he already imagined that this would have to happen. In fact, I don't even know why I alone tried to attack him. Looks like someone is trying to speak for me right now. At that moment, Gohan starts to laugh and a big shudder starts to occur inside Zeno-sama's palace. Gohan's body begins to change and the scratches on his body begin to show. We can see that the battle had gotten a lot more intriguing. Within moments, Gohan had once again become the 8th of the ultimate in his Beast Mode 2 form. The power of the 8th of the Supreme had already made the High Priest begin to reflect on everything that was happening. It looked like the battle would be unprecedented. The Great Priest speaks. Then that's it. You managed to get more powerful. It seemed that since the first Celestial War, I hadn't felt energy as strong as yours. You mean this boy's powers interested you? Or for some reason, are you wanting to dominate this boy's body? The 8th Supreme God says, It doesn't matter, Daishin Khan. What matters is that now we will be able to clarify a battle that had started millennia ago. Isn't that fascinating? The Great Priest smiles. A great attack is launched on the 8th Supreme God. Footsteps begin to emerge over the palace. The 8th of the Supreme observes and speaks. Then that's it. It means you've arrived. Zeno-sama appears and says,
Daishin Khan, because I'm feeling the presence of a being from the past in Son Goku's son's body. What is happening?
The Great Priest says, Your Majesty, let me resolve this entire situation. Back to the present moment on the planet Beerus. Goku and Vegeta had performed the training in the Hall of the Gods. Goku had attained his new transformation. Goku says, "Mr. Whis and Mr. Beerus, I need to get out of here now because I know a great battle is waiting for us. I need to get to Zeno-sama's palace soon and get Gohan back. Let's go, Vegeta!" At the moment when Goku was getting ready to go, Whis appears in front of him. Goku says, "What are you doing?" Vegeta watches and says,
Kakarot, haven't you noticed yet? Looks like they don't want to let us go.
Goku says, "Mr. Whis, Mr. Beerus, don't play with us, but we need to get this resolved soon." Beerus watches and says,
Not quite. After all, you trained in the Hall of the Gods. We need to test your powers. That's the only way.
Goku starts to smile and says, "Let's see if my training really worked." Goku says to Vegeta, "Let's go. I know the two of us together will be able to show our best performance. We cannot let the future of the universe not be in our hands. If the heavenly gods decide to make the decisions around here, things get a lot more complicated." At that moment, Goku activates his new transformation alongside Vegeta. Vegeta says,
Kakarot thinks now is the time to show our true powers.
Goku, next to Vegeta, starts attacking Beerus and Whis and dodges with great mastery. Beerus activates Hakai form, while Whis utilizes the great mastery of self-movement. Beerus casts a great power over Goku. At that moment, Goku had received several blows from Beerus, while Vegeta tried to dodge Whis' blows. Beerus throws Goku and Vegeta away and the two fall. Vegeta says,
Kakarot, I don't know if you're feeling this, but I believe that now everything seems to be different. Perhaps this training really did work.
Goku watches and starts to smile, saying, "Vegeta, now we have the power to show them all that we came here for. It looks like this time we won't be pawns on this chessboard anymore." Goku becomes more and more enraged as he shows the power that he had been reborn a long time ago. Goku's skin darkens. The power of self-motion mastery and the white streaks on his body emerge. Whis watches and says, "It looks like this transformation. That's not possible. First Gohan and now Mr. Goku? Does that mean that the reincarnation of the Supreme Gods is being shown over the Saiyans? But unlike Gohan, do Mr. Goku and Mr. Vegeta have control over this transformation?" What is happening here now? Let's analyze. At that moment, Goku starts to get angry and appears behind Whis. Vegeta ends up combining his powers with Goku's and knocks Beerus down. At that moment that Goku would land a blow directly on Whis, Whis starts to laugh and says, "I think that's enough, Mr. Goku and Mr. Vegeta. I think you have now really shown your true powers." Things began to change, and we began to understand more about how these situations were happening. Goku deactivates his transformation and speaks, "I don't think we have much to do. We need to go directly to Zeno-sama's palace." Whis and Beerus smile and wish Goku and Vegeta good luck. Goku and Vegeta teleport directly to Zeno-sama's palace. The great priest was seated there in front of Zeno-sama's palace. Gohan wasn't there. Goku and Vegeta look at the great priest and say, "Great priest, what happened around here?" The great priest responds, "We have a little problem now. Zeno-sama was captured by the 8th Supreme God." Goku and Vegeta are startled. Goku and Vegeta arrive at the Grand Priest's palace, and to a big surprise, the High Priest said that Zeno-sama was captured by the 8th Supreme God. Goku says, "How is this possible? Are you saying that the being incorporated into Gohan ended up accomplishing all this? How could Zeno have been captured? Even more being by your side." Daishinkan observes and speaks. "I thought I was fighting only the 8th Supreme God, until the moment I felt a power similar to that of the Lord, Lord Goku. I thought they were already reinforcements." If Lord Zeno used magic to erase the universe, he would simply directly erase his own palace. So his magic power ended up having no effect here. It was at this moment that the other presence appeared and ended up trying to directly attack Zeno-sama. I got in front of the attack, which served as a distraction for the 8th of the Supreme to teleport to Zeno and get him out of the palace. Now I really don't know where Zeno is. We will need to try to analyze this whole situation before we start acting. I see that Son Gohan is not an evil being, but it seems he takes on another personality upon reaching this level 2 beast form. After he shows his true powers, it seems that some ancient god takes possession of him. Looks like things have gotten a little complicated for us now, doesn't it? Goku starts to question himself and says, "But what could we do now, Great Priest?" Daishin-kan says, "There is a place that will be very interesting for us to understand how things are going to work. It's called the Dimension of Emotions. There we will certainly be able to know where the 8th Supreme God might have taken Zeno-sama. When we can control our own emotions, our reasoning works in a much greater way. I can already imagine how this will happen." Goku smiles and says, "This is perfect. Let's do it." The Great Priest watches and speaks. "However, Lord Goku, even if you find the 8th Supreme God, what will you do? Do you think you will be able to win this battle?" The Great Priest begins to laugh and speaks. "I need to test your powers." Goku starts to smile and says, "Looks like it wasn't just Mr. Whis and Mr. Beerus who wanted to do this. Do you also want to test my High Priest powers? Let's start." Planet Beerus, Whis and Beerus begin to question themselves. What could be happening here sounds a bit strange. The 8th of the Supreme reincarnated in the son of Goku. At other times, we can already see that great battles may be taking place. Things are really going to get a lot more complicated here. What are they planning? I cannot understand. Beerus starts to think. Whis says, "Perhaps his goal as he is in Gohan's body is not to directly attack Goku and Vegeta because they are from Universe 7. Maybe his ideal is not to attack Universe 7 and he wants to attack the other universes. Since in case Zeno-sama cannot interfere in these battles, he might want to release each of the other gods who were trapped in the other universes to start bringing about his rebellion. This could get a lot more complicated, don't you think, Master Beerus?" Beerus starts analyzing and says, "So you mean if he's not going to directly attack Universe 7, the closest universe we have would be Universe 6, where our brothers would be there?" Whis starts to look very seriously and says, "They will know how to fend for themselves. I'm sure they will be able to resolve this situation. Vados, Champa, Hit, Cauliflower, and several other warriors will fight. We need to pay close attention to everything that can happen." Beerus continues with a serious look and says, "But that still worries me, Whis." Back to Zeno-sama's palace. Goku starts fighting the Great Priest. Goku activates his new transformation. As he activates his new transformation, the Great Priest observes and speaks. "I feel like a lot of Whis energy behind you. So you mean you did the training in the Hall of the Gods? Without performing this training, it will be practically impossible for you to at least keep up with my movements. I'm very happy for your great performance, Sir Goku. And you, Vegeta, won't you want to fight?" At that moment, Vegeta says yes.
Even if you are more powerful than us, our Saiyan style won't let that happen. And I will show you my true power only if Kakarot is defeated. Otherwise, I will save all this just to defeat Kakarot's son."
At that moment, the Great Priest laughs and begins to say, "If that's what you want, then come on." The Great Priest begins to dodge Goku's attacks with great mastery and begins to raise his power more and more and show all his energy. It felt like a power that transcended the limits of existence. Goku wonders, How could anyone manage to fight toe-to-toe with this guy? The difference between our powers is practically between heaven and earth. I'm not able to understand anything. At any moment, it looks like he might defeat me. Goku starts to take more and more of his powers and his energy gets higher and higher. Goku says, "It seems I have no choice." Goku begins to energize a great celestial energy and speaks. "I believe that now I will become much more powerful." Goku creates a large spirit bomb in his hand to hit the high priest. The great priest receives the full punch from Goku. Vegeta is surprised and says,
How did Kakarot manage to hit the Supreme Angel?
The great priest observes laughing and says, "I believe you are wrong." Goku and Vegeta look again and see that the great priest was not hit. It was just an illusion created by him. The great priest says, "You have just fallen into my secret technique. Now you will have to control your emotions in the dimension of emotions." Goku appeared in a totally different place than Zeno-sama's palace. Goku wonders, "Where am I?" The great priest says, "I sent you to the dimension of emotions. It's no use you wanting to fight the 8th of a Supreme, since he has the same techniques as me. As long as you are in that dimension and your body is in Zeno's palace, I could finish you off easily, very quickly. You will have to control your emotions so you don't fall into this 8th of the Supreme technique anymore. I wait for you to return or be trapped forever in this dimension, Lord Goku." At that moment, Goku wonders, "What's happening to me? It is not possible that the great priest was so powerful, and yet the 8th Supreme God still had strategies to fight him." Goku starts to hear a voice that says,
Kakarot, you never change. By sheer luck, he defeated me in the past and said he would be the most powerful.
Goku wonders, "What's happening? Who are you?" A large silhouette appears. A warrior with hair that looked like a Super Saiyan 3 starts to smile. The warrior says,
"Don't you remember your brother? It's been a long time, Kakarot."
Goku gets angry and says, "How is that possible? You wretch Raditz, what are you doing here?" Moving on to Universe 6. The 8th Supreme God Gohan appears in this universe. The moment the 8th Supreme God appears, Champa and Vados teleport to the location of the 8th Supreme God in the universe number 6. Champa says, "I could perceive a very immense power coming from here. You're not just any Saiyan. Who are you really?" Vados observes and speaks.
Looks like we have a big problem here in universe number 6, Mr. Champa. How will you go about solving it?
Champa says, "I'm gonna take this guy down right here and now, because I am the most powerful god of destruction of all." The 8th Supreme starts laughing and says,
"It's no use. You always wanted to waste your lives needlessly. I didn't come here to fight you, but if you want to fight so bad, I'm gonna finish you two now."
Goku begins to have his memories distorted. Goku sees Raditz's image and starts to wonder, "What's happening to me? Is this an illusion? It looks so real. I don't understand what is happening." At that moment, the silhouette of Raditz appears in front of him and says,
"Don't you remember everything that happened, Kakarot? How can you not remember your big brother?"
Goku starts to wonder. A large light appears in front of Goku. Raditz says,
"Just look at the truth of what happened during all this time."
Goku discovers the truth in the dimension of emotions from his brother Raditz. Goku and Piccolo were fighting one against Raditz until the moment when Raditz says,
"Kakarot, it's impossible for you to beat me. Come soon with me or I will destroy all your friends."
At that moment, Goku starts talking. "It doesn't matter if you're my brother. It doesn't matter who you really are. If you want to end my family and the earth, I would end you right now." Goku sacrifices his life and Raditz is killed. In the battle against the Saiyans, Goku says, "Guys, I need you to resurrect my brother." At that time, Goku speaks, Everybody talks.
Are you crazy? How do you want us to resurrect the guy who was literally to blame for his death?
Goku says, "Does not matter. I have many questions for him." Back to the present moment, Raditz starts talking. "A lot of things ended up happening. Many things were developed, Kakarot. Can you understand now? The upbringing I had was a far more complicated upbringing than yours. You came to a peaceful planet, while I was sent alongside Vegeta and Nappa to destroy everything. The joy we had was to destroy and conquer planets. We never thought of having another kind of ambition. Vegeta was already planning his revenge against Frieza. But in my case, what could I do? I was just a low-class Saiyajin from where he just followed orders. Since I was little, I was raised with this evil. What do you think about this, Kakarot? Want to judge me more? What do you want me to do?" Goku starts looking at Raditz and says, "I seem to understand everything that happened. This is all starting to make more sense to me." Goku at that moment starts to put his hand on his head and says, "But still, that doesn't make sense. I do not remember you. Unlike Vegeta, you had not been resurrected. All the battles we had alongside the Z warriors, I don't remember you even being my brother." Raditz starts to speak. "All of this would have been different, Kakarot. Your fight against Frieza, I would be there. Check it out. Frieza showed great powers that caused several other beings to be killed. Practically, the Namekians were enslaved, and many battles ended up taking place in the face of all that. You have awakened the Super Saiyan transformation. That until then was considered the legendary transformation. I would be by your side and show you all the powers you could attain. Think, Kakarot, the two of us together fighting all enemies. There are several timelines. May I help you? I can make you stronger and stronger. After all, the two of us are Bardock's children." Goku looks at Raditz and starts to get serious and says, "You are not telling the truth. I remember very well everything that happened. You just wanted to attack everyone. You had no mercy at all for Gohan, who was just a child. You attacked Krillin. I wanted to attack Master Roshi and everyone else. You were only meant to take me back and destroy the entire Earth. That's why you died." At that moment, Raditz says, "You had mercy on Vegeta. If you had pity that you were wanting to attack and end everything, why didn't you have pity on your brother? Can you understand this? Bring me back, Kakarot. We have great powers and great abilities that can be shown and developed together. Let me fight by your side. Any threat we can defeat. After all, we are brothers and sons of the legendary Saiyan. When you fought Majin Buu directly, you used and asked for energy for all universes. I was in another world giving you my energy." Check it out. Goku starts having a turmoil in his head again and sees his fight against Majin Buu. Goku asks everyone for energy to perform his spirit bomb. At that moment, when Goku had great dexterity to perform the ultimate attack and finish off Majin Buu. Everyone was watching from all universes the battle that Goku was having. Raditz was in hell fighting various beings, showing that all this time he was dead, he was getting more and more powerful and made everyone raise their heads to help Goku perform his spirit bomb against the demon Majin Buu. Goku is surprised and says, "It cannot be. Is this really true?" At that moment, Raditz speaks. "You must accept your royal Kakarot family. I am really here to help. How about we forget about the fights of the past and try to make a fresh start?" At that moment, Goku starts to smile and speaks. "I really wish we could have this conversation and resolve this whole situation. Still, I really want to see if you've gotten stronger. But all this cannot happen now." Raditz's face changes. "How do you want to refuse your brother?" Goku watches and speaks. "My real brother is dead now, at least in this universe. So I'll go after him myself as soon as I'm done with all the threats that are showing up around here. I don't know who is using this energy on me. Maybe it's the power of the Great Priest, but now I need to come back to my reality. After that, he would have matters to deal with directly with Lord Kai. I will check this whole situation. At that moment, Goku begins to emanate greatly his energy. In a few moments, Goku's power rises more and more and the barrier in the dimension of emotions is broken. At that moment, Goku observes and returns to his normal sanity. At that time, the great priest says, "Well done, Goku. It looks like you managed to escape the technique where emotions are brought directly to the user. It looks like the next step will be for you to face these supreme gods. What will your decision be now?" Vegeta appears and says,
This really was a really crazy thing. It seems that I saw my father and managed to talk to him, but they had a totally different personality than before.
The great priest says, "I hope you learned a lot. I hope you guys managed to get a lot stronger, because a great threat in the universe number 6 is taking place." Goku starts to smile when he sees the image of Raditz in front of him. Goku says, "Now I have the power needed to defeat the 8th of the ultimate." Northern Galaxy, Lord Kai's planet. Lord Kai says,
Looks like you're as strong as your brother, Goku.
Raditz appears and says,
Soon, I will help you in this celestial battle.
Universe 6. Gohan Beast Mode 2, embodied in the 8th Supreme God, has just arrived to the twin universe of Universe 7. Champa and Vados welcome Gohan Beast Mode 2 to Universe 6. Champa says,
"So you are that mortal who fought in the Tournament of Power. I don't remember you showing such a great performance in the tournament. How dare you come here to challenge the gods, or even my universe? Know that my universe didn't win the Tournament of Power only because we didn't have time to train long enough. Now everyone is extremely powerful and you won't be able to do anything in front of us."
Gohan starts watching and laughing. Champa says,
"Why are you laughing? What audacity!"
Gohan looks at Vados and speaks,
"It seems that the angel of your universe is much more intelligent than the god of destruction himself. You don't know who you're messing with."
Vados observes and says,
Mr. Champa, looks like this kid is no ordinary kid. In addition to having awakened new powers, he apparently still possesses extremely high skill. But I feel like an energy from millennia ago is embedded in his body. You mean he wants to end everything and everyone here? But somehow, we'll have to put an end to it. Won't we even ask permission from the other universes to be able to do away with the mortal from another universe? Maybe it would be interesting for me to go to Universe 7.
Gohan starts to laugh and says,
"Who would you ask permission to break up with me?"
Champa says,
"The great priest and Zeno-sama, you insolent."
Gohan, embodied in the 8th Supreme God, starts to laugh.
"Good. For you to get to Zeno-sama, you would first have to go through me, because he is in a place where I left him on the verge of death."
Frightened Flame speaks.
"What? You must be kidding."
Alright partner, if you are enjoying this video, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any new videos, and stay tuned to our entire universe of Z Warriors. Without further ado, let's get straight to the point. In an unknown galaxy, Zeno-sama, all bruised, says,
"That didn't look like Goku's son. Why did he bring me here? It didn't feel real. I was just going to erase his existence, but my powers didn't work on him. As I don't have great physical strength, he ended up hitting me a lot. But I am the creator of everything. If you break up with me, what will happen? At that time, my gods could be here beside me. Not even for that, these guys are good enough. What am I going to do now? I need to think. Many complicated things can still happen. Is this how things will work out? Goku, where are you, my friend?"
Universe number 7. Goku, after having had all his training, starts talking to the Great Priest. Goku says, "Great Priest, I was able to sense a space of Gohan's energy directly in Universe number 6. It might be interesting to go there." Beerus and Whis appear at Zeno-sama's palace. Beerus speaks,
Goku better pay some attention.
It's not ideal to invade universe number 6 right now. Vegeta is just watching. Goku says, "But why, Sir Beerus? They will be able to end it all. They want to destroy anyone here." At that moment, Whis starts to laugh and speaks.
Now, Sir Goku, don't think that you and Mr. Vegeta are the only ones who were trained around here. You can be sure that Hit, Cauliflower, and everyone else are much stronger. Universe 6's warriors continued performing the arduous training to protect their universes. At no time did Champa and Vados ask for our help, so you can be sure that it would be a great dishonor as fighters and protectors of a universe if we left our universe and went directly to defend a threat that is not affecting us right now. Can you understand this? The situation is complicated. Even though it's not 100% Gohan who's fighting. Even with all this development, we still need to believe in all other mortals. So far, you are protectors of Universe 7. Not even Master Beerus, who is the god of destruction, has the right to invade other universes. Can you understand the gravity of this situation?
Goku observes and speaks. "But the great priest trained us here." The great priest observes and says,
"This is a somewhat questionable problem."
Whis says,
"It makes perfect sense. Maybe we should somehow look for where he is, or what is the true whereabouts of Lord Zeno. Where did the 8th Supreme God take Zeno-sama? This can be more complicated for us. If something happens to Zeno-sama, a major catastrophe in the world can be created, and this will cause major meltdowns to eventually occur. We need to pay close attention. Can you understand?"
Goku watches and speaks. "As much as I wanted to fight Gohan and fight the 8th of the Ultimate, it really makes a lot more sense, Mr. Whis. In Universes 6, we have Hit, and whether or not, that fusion of cauliflowers is very powerful. Maybe that makes total sense for them to win. They must have trained and become much stronger." Goku gets excited and says, "So we're definitely going to look for Mr. Zeno to really understand where he is." Universe 6. Champa and Vados are shocked to find that Zeno-sama has been captured by the High Priest. Everyone discovers that Zeno-sama has been captured by the Gohan embodied in the 8th Supreme God. Things start to get a lot more complicated. The Great Priest Gohan watches and says, "Good, but I've said too much. I think now is the time to finish you off." Gohan again activates his Beast Mode 2 transformation, but this time his body begins to take on a more different form. The red streaks on his body started to get darker. His strength and his energy seem to have increased even more. Champa watches and speaks. "This boy really has a lot of strength. He will be a problem if in fact what he said is true. He actually had a battle against the Great Priest. I will have to use my Ultra Ego, and what will you do, Vados?" Vados begins to smile and speaks.
"Sir Champa, do you really believe that this mortal can come here and directly challenge a god of destruction? Do you think you are correct?"
Champa starts to laugh and says,
"Well, really, it doesn't make much sense. Hey boy, I have a proposal now for you. Before you fight me, you will have to know the power of the most powerful true mortals in the Universe 6.
At that instant, Gohan embodied in the 8th Supreme God says,
"Challenge accepted. You will know my true fury. Then I will finish you. I confess that I didn't come here for battles, but since you insist, you will have to know my true power."
Everyone goes to the Saiyan planet of Universe 6. Hit is summoned to the Saiyan planet, and there were Kale and Cauliflower. Champa and Vados had explained the whole situation to them. Cauliflower says,
"So it means that this is the son of that little uncle from the Tournament of Power. This time we won't lose. We'll show him all of our real Kale training."
Kale and Cauliflower merge again and Kefla is born. Kefla activates her Super Saiyan 2 and soon after she ends up activating a different transformation in which her body starts to turn grey. Gohan says, "What kind of transformation is this?" Kefla says, "This is the transformation made to end you." Soon after, Hit appears and raises his energy to the maximum. Gohan is impressed. Gohan, embodied in the 8th Supreme God, speaks. "Looks like things won't be so easy here in this universe." The voice of the 8th Supreme God says, "Maybe I need a little more time to be able to execute my plan. Let's dance. It's time for me to warm up with you." Gohan Beast Mode 2, embodied in the 8th Supreme God, starts his battle in Universe 6 against Kefla. Champa observes and says, "This boy is managing to fight even against Kefla, who is among the most powerful fighters in this entire universe. He really wasn't kidding when he said his powers had gotten much higher." Vados tries to understand and says,
My memory isn't very good right now, but I would guess that this boy is fighting exactly like the 8th Supreme God who fought in the Celestial War. In that war, my father had to show great power and use the planetary devastation to eliminate the Supreme God. Does this boy somehow have a connection with the 8th Supreme God?
Gohan starts laughing and says, "Very insightful, Angel of Universe 6. Looks like you discovered my secret." Kefla punches Gohan in the face and says, "You are fighting me." Hit observes and speaks. "In every scenario I can imagine, I can't see a good situation for Kefla in this battle. I hope I'm wrong." Champa is startled and speaks.
Do you think that? You should trust your battle friends more.
Hit responds, "I'm just telling the truth." Vados interrupts and says,
Mr. Champa, I think you'll have to stay here for a long time and take care of this situation. I need to pay a visit to Universe 7.
Champa says,
How so, Vados? What are you going to do in Universe 7?
Vados smiles and speaks.
If indeed this boy has a relationship with the 8th of the Supreme, things are going to get a lot more complicated here. I need to talk to my father. Gohan said that Zeno-sama was captured. Surely Whis must already be looking for my father. I will go there. I need to know what decision we're going to make now. Maybe we really have to eliminate this kid.
Champa watches and speaks.
Do as you wish. Vados, I'm going to kick this kid in the face right now.
Vados teleports through the celestial cube directly to Zeno-sama's palace. The palace of Zeno-sama. Goku, Vegeta, Beerus, and the Great Priest were about to start their search for Zeno-sama. Vados arrives at the palace from scratch. Whis says,
Let's see if it's not my sister. We were just talking about you and Mr. Champa.
Vados looks at Whis with a smirk. We seem to welcome Son Gohan, or let's say the son of Son Goku, the reincarnation of the 8th Supreme God. I was sure I remembered this boy. That face after activating his transformation, he was the face of the 8th of the Supreme, and his antics and his way of fighting were the same. Does this mean that this boy wants to eliminate all the universes? What amazes me is that when he arrived, he didn't say he didn't want to fight us. He simply saw it all and said he had other ideals to fulfill. But Champa ended up pushing the envelope, and now he's fighting Cauliflower and Hit from the planet Sadala. I came here to speak with my Lord Father. The Great Priest, smiling, says, Because speak, vain. What do you want? Vados Barros says, You gave me permission to eliminate this mortal in my own universe to keep things from getting more complicated. In Universe 6 is where there is the portal to the 4th Supreme God. If he manages to free the 4th Supreme God, we can say that the celestial threat will get bigger and bigger, and rest assured that we will have major complications. Each of the twin universes has a portal of a Supreme God. If he actually manages to do that, do you have any idea what could happen? That's why he captured Zeno-sama. Zeno-sama's powers don't work against the Supreme God, and the physical strength in Zeno's body isn't great. He could easily be making Zeno-sama a prisoner. He knows he needs Zeno-sama to open the last portal. We'll be able to eliminate this entire threat if we finish off Son Gohan now. Goku interferes and says, "Vados, you can't do that regardless of what's going on. Gohan isn't like that. He has a pure heart. Some being is trying to take over his body. He may have shown great heightened power, and someone is taking advantage of the energy he has shown. I can't let you lay a finger on Gohan. Great Priest, Mr. Whis, I'm sorry. If she threatens to want to eliminate Gohan's existence, I'll have to stop her." Vados starts to laugh and says,
Do you think you will really be able to do something against me, Goku? You have no idea what I can do to you. I'm not as nice as Whis. Whis is only here to train you and make sure you and Vegeta bring balance in the spare time Beerus is away. But I'm totally different. I have no mercy for any mortal who wants to attack my universe, and my brother must have already told you that I am much more powerful than he is.
The Great Priest begins to watch. Vados says,
My dad, let me take care of Son Goku first. I know you intend to go after Zeno-sama, but those decisions cannot happen here.
The Great Priest is watching, and Whis says,
Does that mean that's how it's going to happen? Vados, I will fight you myself. I won't let you try to finish off the mortals of Universe 7.
At that moment, Goku says, "No, Mr. Whis, this battle is mine." The Great Priest watches. Whis says,
Lord Goku, don't try to do this. If this battle gets more intense, things get a lot more complicated.
Beerus is watching. Vados prepares in battle stance and Goku activates his new King God transformation. Vados says,
Looks like you have hidden tricks too. That energy, you sure had to train in the Hall of the Gods. Does that mean you keep giving these mortals more powers?
Beerus says,
We are just doing what any god of destruction would do. After all, I slept for millennia, and in all those millennia, several threats appeared. Our Universe 7 fighting power has to be stronger and stronger.
Vados starts to laugh and says, "Whatever." Goku steps forward to attack Vados. Vados with great mastery ends up dodging all of Goku's blows and says, "I've already said that I won't be as flippant as Whis." Vados directly activates the Ultra Angel Instinct. Whis says,
There's no way she's really wanting to fight this seriously.
Vados starts throwing several blows at Goku. Goku speaks, "This power is totally different than before. Is this the true power of an angel? Has Mr. Whis always been playing with me? The power I have from this transformation will never do any good. Damn, what am I supposed to do?" Goku is being cornered. Goku begins to have Gohan's memories. Goku thinks, "If I don't do anything here now, they'll finish off Gohan. I cannot let that happen. How am I going to protect all of Universe 7 if I can't even protect my son?" A voice comes over Goku.
You need more power, don't you? Do you want to save your child?
Goku says, "Who is talking?" The unknown voice says,
I am just you, and you are a god.
Goku's body begins to have a major anomaly. Whis changes the look of his face. Beerus says,
You noticed. It's not Whis. Let's pretend that nothing is happening.
Goku's body begins to undergo a major change. Vegeta speaks.
What's going on with Kakarot? Is this a new transformation?
Goku's body begins to receive all the universal energy. His body color starts to turn reddish and darker. Goku says, "What is happening to my body?" Goku manages to dodge Vados' mastery of auto movement and lands a real attack on the Angel of Universe 6. Vados is thrown away. Goku was about to attack Vados again. At that moment, the great priest stops Goku's blow and says, "This is enough. Mr. Goku, this appearance of yours is causing me a much bigger question." Vado starts to smile and says,
"Until that way Goku became much more handsome. It would be a waste to finish him off. Maybe I should just let it go and do nothing with your son."
After the major conflicts were over, Goku had passed out from this transformation. Beerus says, "This transformation was quite different. We will need to analyze. It's no longer enough for Goku's son to be reincarnated in the 8th of the Supreme. The 4th Supreme God possessed this body power in a dark and red form. Let's wait." The great priest says, "While you were fighting, I managed to detect the galaxy where Zeno-sama is." Vados observes and says,
"All right, I'll go with you, and then we'll go to Universe 6. I need to see everything that's going on."
Universe 6. At that moment, Cauliflower and Kale were lying on the floor. Gohan, smiling, says, "Who will be the next one? You are very weak." Hit appears behind Gohan and says, "Now you will fight with me, the most powerful mortal in Universe 6. Gohan defeated Kefla. At that moment, Cauliflower and Kale fall to the planet Sadala. Cauliflower says,
"Looks like I haven't been able to defeat this guy. He's actually more powerful than Goku himself. How did this boy not show such power in the Tournament of Universes?"
Gohan says, "It's very easy to fight the mortals of this universe. You can't show anything different. See God of Destruction in Universe 6? You should have come at me right from the start. I'll end with you." Hit teleports behind Gohan and says, "Now you will know the true power of the most feared assassin in Universe 6. Gohan starts to laugh and says, "Does that mean then that this is your power? Interesting. Time jump, that's how he got to me." Hit observes and speaks. "Does that mean you know this technique? You will discover the true power of Universe 6. Gohan and Hit start the fight. Champa speaks.
"Come on, Hit! Show this guy how to fight for real!"
Hit uses his time leap and tries to land several blows on Gohan. Gohan again takes possession of the 8th Supreme God. Gohan's body, embedded in the 8th Supreme God, begins to laugh from the hit. The 8th Supreme God uses a technique very similar to Hit's time jump. Hit wonders, "How is this possible? Can this kid also perform the time jump?" Gohan starts laughing and says, "You won't be able to do anything here in the face of this fight. I would have to end you now. Pay attention, this is the blow that will make you disappear from this place." Gohan puts 2 fingers on the test and performs the Makan Kosapo and is about to launch the attack on Hit. Gohan's body starts to shudder. Serious Hit just watched Gohan prepare the attack. Gohan starts to feel a great pain in his head. The 8th Supreme God in Gohan's body says, "What do you think you're doing? Who do you think is this boy?" Gohan says, "I won't let you take over my body. This power you're trying to seize is mine. You cannot do that. Hit and Champa, please finish me now. If you do this, we will be able to prevent a much greater evil." Hit refuses to attack Gohan, and Champa starts laughing and says,
"Very well, you will be eliminated. It will be a very strong blow, but painless for you."
Champa prepares to land a Hakai on Gohan. Meanwhile, in Universe 7, the Great Priest had arrived in the Southern Galaxy, the celestial galaxy where the High Gods were sealed. Vegeta, next to the Great Priest, begins to observe everything that was happening. Vegeta says, "Great Priest, is this the galaxy where Zeno-sama is? How did you manage to find this place, and whose bodies are here?" Goku, alongside Whis, Vados, and Beerus start analyzing. Goku says, "Why was Zeno-sama brought to this place?" The Great Priest answers,
Surely the 8th Supreme God hit Lord Zeno there just so things could get more complicated. Since the bodies of those Supreme Gods that were sealed are here, your souls are in other universes. Perhaps the 8th Supreme God is looking to drain Zeno's energy so that these can revive. Interesting, but we can't let that happen. We need to look for Zeno-sama. Maybe he left some enemies here. We have to analyze everything that will happen. A shudder between the universes arises. Vados says, "It seems that the energy of the 8th Supreme God has just let his guard down, and it seems that Lord Champa's energy is increasing more and more." Goku worries and says, "If the energy of the 8th Supreme God is low, it means that Gohan has managed to control his power. Or what else could be happening? Let's watch and talk." "Maybe things are a little more complicated than you think, Mr. Goku. If you look closely, we can see that Lord Champa is about to energize a Hakai energy. Maybe he's looking to eliminate Mr. Gohan directly. But Mr. Champa is wrong. If he lands a Hakai directly on Gohan and eliminates his existence, the spirit of the 8th Supreme God will still roam, and he will only look for another powerful being to take possession of his body. Then Gohan's life would be wasted in vain. He knows very well, or he should have known, that this would only work if there was some kind of ceiling." Beerus says,
Champa is very smart. He would never understand this. Looks like we're in serious trouble right now.
Vados says, "I think it's no use. I will have to go to the Universe 6. I'll leave this mission of looking for Zeno-sama to you." At that moment, Goku says, "Vados, please let me go with you. I want to try one more time with Gohan." Vegeta says,
If Kakarot goes, I will too. I will not leave this worm behind.
The Great Priest next to Whis and Beerus says, "So it seems that this task of looking for Zeno-sama will stay with us here. You are very strong. If a threat appears, we will join forces. Vados, Goku and Vegeta, go to Universe 6. At the moment when Champa was about to use Hakai on Gohan, Goku appears and lands a kick on Champa's hand. Champa says, "You are crazy, you mortal. How dare you stop my big blow? I was about to finish this boy, this mortal who wanted to destroy everything here." Gohan says, "Dad, I need you to get out of here. I am holding back my power of the 8th Supreme God. Let me sort this out." Goku says, "Calm down, Gohan. This time we'll find some way to get you back to normal." Goku sees Hit and says, "It's been a while, Hit. You must have gotten a lot stronger." Brave Champa speaks. "It's not possible. What are you doing here? You guys only show up here to cause trouble. I will finish you here now. Vados, do not get involved in this battle. These Saiyans are asking to see the other side of the world." Champa becomes enraged and activates his Hakai form. Vegeta dictates to watch and Goku activates his Ultra God form. Goku begins to battle Champa. Champa says, "I know you fought Beerus, but don't think that my power and skills are equal to Beerus's. You will now know the true power of a god of destruction." Goku, in his Ultra God transformation, begins to contain himself and says, "Just now I managed to have a battle against Vados." Champa responds, "Impossible! Vados must have just teased you. But to me it doesn't matter if you fought an angel or not. What do you think we gods of destruction have to do to get that job?" Goku and Champa start exchanging several blows until the moment when Goku starts to smile and says, "That power again is coming to my body." Vados begins to observe and speaks. "Will he show that transformation again?"
At the moment when the power of darkness was apparently taking hold of Goku, Gohan, without explanation, starts to contain his energy and smiles. Goku says, "It doesn't matter anymore. Now I will be able to get much stronger with just my Ultra God power." Goku starts to lose some of his control and lands several blows on Champa. At that moment, Goku takes Champa's 2 arms and sinks his 2 feet into his face. The God of Destruction is furious. Champa says,
"Now you will receive the strongest blow. You activated my Ultra Ego. The more I get hit, the more powerful I get. So now you will know true fury."
Goku starts to look darkly. Gohan continues to smile with a totally different smile. Vado's strange what is taking place. Vegeta just watches. Goku says, "I think now I'll fight for real with you." Vegeta says,
What's going on with Kakarot? That is to say, every time this transformation is activated, it is as if some of the power is transferred to the Supreme God. Does that mean that if I activate this transformation, I can be consumed by this energy?
Goku starts throwing several blows at Champa. Champa begins to be at a disadvantage. Vado says, "I don't know if I should interfere in this battle. Mr. Goku was fighting me and he managed to gain control over his power. Angels cannot engage in battles between mortals. I'm confused on what to do. But if it continues like this, you may end up getting the worst of it." That moment, Champa is thrown away. Goku was totally out of control. Vegeta says,
Gohan, or 8th Supreme God, that's what was on your mind, wasn't it? This was all his plan. I could already imagine. But I am Vegeta, the Prince of the Saiyans, and I will solve all of this.
Enraged Champa says,
"That will not remain like this. It can't end this way."
Vegeta appears in front of Champa. Vegeta says,
God of Destruction of Universe 6, leave Kakarot to me. I already understand what is happening.
Goku, with his power out of control, looks at Vegeta and speaks.
"Vegeta, get out of my way."
Vegeta activates his Ultra Ego and lands a real punch in Goku's belly. After that, Vegeta says,
Now we will fight, from Ultra God transformation to Ultra God transformation. Who will lose control? Who will be the one who gets killed? After that, I will finish with the 8th Supreme God.
The 8th Supreme God starts to laugh. Gohan's body is still in crisis. The 8th Supreme God says,
It looks like Goku's real powers are on display now. He's lost control against the God of Destruction of Universe 6. Perhaps we can consider him an ally.
Gohan watches and speaks.
"What's happening? It feels like now the 8th gave the ultimate is taking full control of my body again. That couldn't happen. I need to do something. What is happening to my father? He came here to help me, and now it looks like he's against everyone. Damn it."
Vados observes and says,
You mean this is what happens when a Saiyan's power is brought to the Ultra God Force? He ends up losing control. And now Vegeta has activated his Ultra Ego and is saying that he will be able to finish off Goku. Interesting. But did Mr. Vegeta get that powerful up to that point?
Vegeta says,
Vados, know that I am the Prince of the Saiyans. There is no stage that Kakarot can reach that I can't reach.
Vegeta boosts his Ultra Ego further and lands a blow on Goku. Goku tries to dodge it, but the Saiyan Prince's speed is too high. Goku, smiling, says, It looks like you're trying to fight seriously, Vegeta. I was gonna take care of the situation here with the God of Destruction of Universe 6, and then we could bring Gohan back. Looks like you're not trusting me. Vegeta smiles and says,
Something here impresses me, Kakarot, and I think maybe I have to take care of this whole situation. Let's start.
The two smile and the battle begins. The palace of Zeno-sama. Zeno-sama's palace was empty after Daishin Khan, Beerus and Whis went directly to find Zeno where he was imprisoned by the 8th Supreme God. An unknown presence appears in Zeno-sama's palace and says,
It seems that everything is going according to plan. The performance of the 8th Supreme God is much greater than we imagined. Maybe this battle will be even easier for us. Does that mean that the Saiyans trained in the room of the gods and achieved the Ultra God transformation? As a result of this, they want to become the most powerful beings, but still the Supreme Gods are taking care of this situation. Universe 6 is in danger. Angels cannot engage so far in battle. If the High Priest accepts and authorizes the angels to fight, things might get a little more complicated for us. But for now, let's deal with the Saiyans and the gods of destruction. Does that mean that this is Goku's son? This kid has enormous potential. The 8th Supreme God must have already realized this. But what amazes me the most is this new energy that has emerged. Goku had already surpassed the God of Destruction of Universe 6, and if this battle had continued, he would surely have defeated him by now. But this guy, Vegeta, it seems he fears no one. Does he possess even greater power? What is he doing here? We need to be very careful. But after all, it doesn't matter, because I am.
At that moment, when the unknown voice would say who it was, we have a cut directly to the unknown galaxy, where the Great Priest is next to Bios and the Is. From Louis, he says,
My dad, I can feel light years from here. A great energy being released directly from Universe 6. It seems that things are now getting much more complicated. Mr. Goku again seems to have lost control of his transformation.
At that moment, Beerus starts to laugh and says,
Do you understand what this is? Do you understand who will resolve the situation now?
Whis and the High Priest begin to watch. The Great Priest says,
Does that mean that you, even though you are a master disciple, are still able to create this kind of rivalry? Surely you taught Ultra Ego, and Ultra Ego will be combined with the strength of Ultra God. In the case, Goku was combining the power of the Ultra Instinct with the Ultra God.
Whis watches and speaks.
Does that mean there is a difference from this teaching in Batala? Maybe this is the way for Mr. Vegeta to control his powers.
At that moment, Beerus says,
Exactly, Whis. For a long time, I tried to use the Ultra Instinct. But due to my destruction energy being so high, things ended up getting more complicated. At that moment, I gave up controlling the Ultra Instinct and started to work only on my Ultra Ego power until I managed to reach other levels in battle. And this worked very well because with this skill, I was able to show extremely incredible powers. So now I am sure Vegeta's training will make things much more intense. Vegeta will show his true power and we'll understand what the Prince of the Saiyans will do.
Whis starts to laugh and says,
Very well, Sir Beerus. If it continued like this, even I thought it would challenge me.
At that moment in Universe 6, Vegeta begins to land several blows on Goku. Vegeta activates his Ultra Ego. Goku looks at Vegeta and speaks.
This reminds me of when we fought on Earth and ended up releasing Majin Buu. This time I won't take it easy.
The great battle had begun. Champa watches and speaks.
The power of this Saiyan is increasing.
Gohan continues to laugh and says,
God of Destruction of Universe 6, I'm still here, and if I want, I can finish you off anytime I feel like it.
Champa responds,
Out of respect for what the mortal of Universe 7 said, I will leave you alone. But wait, the worst still awaits you, boy.
Goku and Vegeta begin to deliver several blows until the point where Goku in his Ultra God form activates his Kaioken increased 100 times over. Vegeta begins to take a huge disadvantage. Vegeta says,
My alter ego, the more I get hit, the more powerful I get.
Vegeta begins to receive several blows from Goku, resembling his first battle he had against the Saiyan. The two begin to show more and more powerful abilities. Vegeta says,
Does that mean that this is the true power of Kakarot? So this is the strength of the strongest. Interesting. So now we're gonna sort this all out.
Vegeta rages,
I think you should know, Kakarot, that by your side we had a great training in the room of the gods. You even showed your Ultra God transformation, and after that you passed out. It took me some time later to master several powers until the moment I managed to reach the Ultra God form.
Goku watches and speaks.
What, Vegeta? Did you also manage to activate this transformation?
Vegeta smiles and says,
This transformation was chosen by the great celestial being. So I, as the Prince of the Saiyans, can't be left behind by any other Saiyans. That's my ego, and that's the true power of the Ultra God. So I present to you now, Kakarot, for the first time, the transformation of the Ultra God Vegeta.
In that instant, all the universes begin to shudder. Everyone starts to wonder and says,
What is this? Is this Vegeta's power? What's going on?
The Prince of Saiyans is showing his true fury. Everything is shaking. Whis in Universe 7 says,
What is happening is not possible. Is this really Lord Vegeta's power?
Beerus starts to smile and says,
After all, he was trained by me.
Vegeta appears with his new transformation, showing his true power. Vegeta appears teleporting behind Goku and threatening to land a blow to his face. The two begin to exchange big punches. It looked like Goku's energy was a little drained from the amount of battles he had and the previous fight he had with Champa. Vegeta begins to land several blows on Goku until the moment when Goku falls to the ground and loses his Ultra God transformation. Vegeta says,
Kakarot, I will not consider this a battle between us. After all, you were already worn out. I hope you can show me something different.
At that moment, we can see that Champa had been attacked from behind by Gohan, embodied in the 8th Supreme God. Vegeta says,
Looks like you didn't respect my decision. You're not Kakarot's son. You attacked the God of Destruction of Universe 6.
Gohan, embodied in the 8th Supreme God, says,
By the time you started raising your power, I could see that you really are a big threat, so I don't have the time to play around here. This will be your end, Vegeta.
Vegeta starts to laugh and says,
If that's what you think, you will know the true power of the next destroyer of the universe, the great Vegeta.
Vegeta versus Gohan. Gohan, embodied in the 8th Supreme God versus Vegeta Ultra God. The battle of the strongest begins now. Vegeta says,
It seems this is the first time since the battle when I invaded Earth that I will fight the son of Kakarot. His power really surprises me. Does that mean that we will now have control of this entire battle? Looks like this could be the final fight, doesn't it? If I finish you off now, we won't have the threat within the universes anymore. I won't be as merciful as Kakarot. I can destroy you anytime I want. After all, I am the great Vegeta.
Vados begins to observe and is thinking,
Vegeta is powerful. He really has the power of the Ultra Ego. He always believes that he is the strongest, that he will defeat any enemy that appears. This is very interesting, but still, if you stop to think about it, at no point did this boy show his true powers. What amazes me is that even though the power of the 8th Supreme God is in his body, this power is an energy of Gohan. It can still show something totally different. Good. What will happen? At that moment, Vegeta begins to activate his Hakai energy combined with the power of the Ultra God and lands several blows on Gohan incorporated in the 8th of the Supreme. The battle starts to get more and more intriguing. Vegeta says,
"Come on, don't play with me. Really show your power."
Champa regains consciousness and Vado says,
"Looks like you've been attacked from behind, Sir Champa. What happened to you? Weren't you going to defeat the 8th of the Supreme?"
Champa says,
"It felt like a hallucination, but I felt it wasn't his presence that attacked me. Maybe we should be careful, because something worse could happen."
Vados begins to wonder. The moment you hear everything Champa says, Vados speaks.
"So why are they fighting here now? Why directly in Universe 6? Is this all part of some other plan?"
At that moment in Universe 7, Whis, Beerus and the Great Priest were looking for Zeno-sama until they found a very large energy where everything indicated that it would be Zeno himself. At that moment, Zeno-sama's guards appear. Whis looks with a surprised face and says,
What are you doing here? Did you really find Lord Zeno? In fact, I was going to ask at a certain point, how was Lord Zeno captured and you hadn't gone after him moments ago?
The guards say nothing. The Great Priest speaks.
"Looks like we have a big problem here, just as I suspected. Perhaps there may be some celestial betrayal in the midst of all this. We will need to think very carefully to solve all this that is happening."
The High Priest prepares, but Beerus says,
"I thought angels were forbidden to fight in this heavenly war. I'm going to deal with these guys myself. I already know very well what I have to do here and now."
Beerus was already very confident in battle. Beerus says,
"It's been a long time since the God of Destruction fought with all his might. I remember like it was yesterday that I saw these guys fighting. They really are two monsters, but they must be wanting to combine their powers with Zeno-sama's. If they haven't done so by now, it must be because Zeno-sama's powers still haven't recovered."
Zeno-sama's guards still don't speak, but they are already preparing for the combat position. The Great Priest and Whis say,
"It will be interesting to follow what is happening. Come on."
Beerus raises his God of Destruction power higher and higher, and a new battle in Universe 7 begins. Beerus says,
"Very well, let's get started."
Universe 6. Gohan, in the form of the 8th of the Ultimate, unleashes several attacks on Vegeta. Vegeta says,
"Looks like this kid was just kidding. Each time he manages to raise his power even more, but that doesn't matter."
In a few moments, Vegeta creates a final flash and hits Gohan in the form of the 8th of the Supreme. Vegeta says,
"Just as I thought. Even though you have embodied the power of a god, since you started these battles, you keep fighting the enemies that appear. So you didn't rest at all. As you have not rested, your power is wasted. You needed a little recovery, didn't you? But I won't let that happen. Now you will know the true power of the Prince of the Saiyans."
Gohan in his final form starts laughing and says, "You must be going crazy, Mr. Vegeta, thinking that one day I would be defeated by you. It looks like you have nothing else to show. If so, I'll end you here now." At that moment, Vegeta gets angry and says,
"Who do you think you're talking to? Now I will show the true strength."
Vegeta begins to increasingly elevate his power of the Ultra Ego combined with the Ultra God form. Gohan starts to laugh. Vados analyzes what Champa says.
"Looks like Mr. Vegeta is letting himself be provoked and falling into the trap."
Goku's body that was resting and starts to make a smile face. We can see a new aura reaching Goku's body and being released over Vegeta's body as well. Vegeta says,
What is it? And what's going on with Kakarot's body?
the power of the Supreme Heavenly God, the fourth, gave the Supreme was the soul that was sealed away in Universe 6 and ended up being released and being thrown into the body of Goku and Vegeta. Champa says,
So that was it. It was this celestial energy that attacked me. It was not that of the 8th Supreme God. Vados, you need to interfere with something, because if it continues like this, the whole Universe 6 will be destroyed.
Vados says,
So it means that this is the power of the Supreme Room. You knew all this. Wasn't it the 8th Supreme God? You will have to look for another body. I won't let you take care of this boy anymore. After all, since you guys threatened my universe and it was a Universe 7 fight, I can't let things go that way.
The 8th Supreme God in Gohan's body starts watching and says,
What are you going to do? I thought angels didn't engage in battles.
Vados starts to laugh and says,
Planetary sealing technique, revolution and destruction. New age, go back to being who you once were and return to your mortal Saiyan essence.
At that moment, a large barrier is thrown by Gohan's body. Gohan regains his original consciousness and says,
What happened with me? I'm not understanding anything anymore.
In that instance, we can see that Goku and Vegeta are incorporated into the 4th Supreme God. The voice of the two becomes one voice. When Goku spoke, Vegeta spoke too. Champa says,
It looks like their combination of powers are linked. It looks like we're going to have some problems here and through this situation.
Gohan speaks,
I think that even with my latent powers, fighting the two of them together in this transformation would be crazy.
Vados smiles and says,
I can't get involved in this battle anymore, but I would say that the situation for the two of you is still going to get much more complicated.
Gohan speaks,
I don't know what happened to me all this time, but even if I risk my whole life, I will save this universe. But still, we are in a tricky situation. If I'm not mistaken, there are two types of fusion, Potara and Metamoru. Both Gogeta and Vegito will be a very intense situation for us to solve. Damn it! The fate of the universe is again in my hands. The energy of the 8th Supreme God is sealed in my body, so I believe he won't be involved anymore. But now there is another being dominating my father and Mr. Vegeta's body.
Goku, embedded in the 4th Supreme God, tries to attack Gohan and says,
I'm just waiting for my powers to recover, and a new most powerful being in the universe will arise.
Vegeta, embedded in the 4th Supreme God, says,
Now the real power of destruction begins.
To be continued. What will Gohan and Champa do? Things have really become more complicated now. So tell me, partner, what do you think about all this and what do you imagine? Click on that like button if you enjoyed the video and subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any more videos. That's all there is to it. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye for now. Ultra God Gogeta vs Gohan. Gohan regains consciousness after the 8th Supreme God's energy was sealed and contained in his body by Vados. It looks like things have gotten more complicated now. The 4th Supreme God is taking possession of Goku and Vegeta's bodies. Goku and Vegeta will now fight Gohan and Champa. The real problem within Universe 6 ended up being created. What is happening inside Zeno-sama's palace? Who is this threat that just emerged? Still, after all these events, we can see that a great battle is being waged in the unknown galaxy between Beerus and Zeno-sama's guards. Who is all behind this? Universe 6. Gohan says, It would be too complicated to fight just my father. Now I'll still have to fight Mr. Vegeta as well. If these two ever merge, we will surely be finished. At that moment, Champa says,
Hey boy from Universe 7, does that mean you have regained your consciousness? For an instant, I would erase your entire existence. But I'm seeing here that our enemy turned out to be those two who came to save you. You are giving me a lot of headache. Anyway, You'll have to help me now to get these two out of here, and after that, I'll go to Universe 7 to settle accounts with Beerus.
Gohan says, "Don't worry, Sir Champa. Now I will resolve this situation." Vados begins to smile and speaks.
Goku's son is just as handsome as his father. Don't fight him, Mr. Champa. He was only carrying out the orders of the spirit of the 8th Supreme God. You know very well that sometimes you can't act in the face of this situation. But now, what are you going to do, Sir Gohan? Goku and Vegeta certainly won't let themselves be captured.
Gohan starts to smile and says, "Good. When I fought Cell Max, I said I would never lose again, and I'm sure my limits aren't just my beast form. The power of the 8th Supreme God is actually nothing more and nothing less than the essence of my strength. I'm sure I won't be defeated here." Goku and Vegeta start talking together. Goku says, "I don't know what's going on with my body. It seems that another being is trying to dominate me. Is this happening to you too, Vegeta? It seems like now the only thing I want is to finish off the God of Destruction of Universe 6 and Gohan." At that moment, Gohan starts to raise his energy even more. Gohan attacks Goku and Vegeta. Goku and Vegeta begin to dodge with the mastery of Ultra Ego and self-movement. Gohan uses his beast form and combines his Ultra God power, which would be the power of the Ultimate God. Gohan says, "It seems that now I can control my strength very well. So does this mean that this is the power that I will be able to realize the true energy of the Supreme God?" At that moment, Goku and Vegeta begin to take a disadvantage. Goku says, "It seems that this power of the 8th Supreme God really is amazing, but you'll need much more than that to finish us off. I don't have time to play games with you, Gohan, so we can't take the essence of Saiyans, as you fought us several times using powers that weren't yours. Theoretically, now we will use a technique that will make you regret it even more." At that moment, Goku uses the Taioken technique that makes everyone unable to see. Champa begins to observe and speaks.
This couldn't have happened. What are they thinking of doing?
Vados watches and says,
Looks like they're using the other types of tricks. This is certainly not Mr. Goku's custom. It's certainly the 4th Supreme God in your body. Being treacherous because the 4th Supreme God always wanted to do that. But it looks like we're in a tricky situation, Sir Champa.
At that moment, Vegeta says,
Kakarot, this is the time. Come on.
In a few moments, Goku and Vegeta begin to perform the Meta Moru dance. We hear the word fusion. Gohan is startled and says, "No, that cannot happen." Vados says,
"Where is Goku? Where is Vegeta?"
Champa says,
"The energy of the two is gone, but it seems that now a much greater energy is being created. I can't understand it. It couldn't happen."
In that instant, we can see that the great battle was apparently about to begin. The mightiest warrior is born. The mightiest warrior says, "I am not Goku nor Vegeta. I am the most powerful warrior and the true destroyer of all universes. I am the great Ultra God, Gogeta. The power of the 4th Supreme God is with me." Gogeta, embedded in the 4th Supreme God, alters his tone of voice. Vados smiles and says,
"It seems that this power is stronger even than that of the other celestial beings who fought in the Celestial War. It will be practically impossible for Mr. Gohan to accomplish anything here. We are in a much more delicate situation."
Gohan observes and speaks. "I could not have let this happen. It seems that now everything is really complicated. If I try to do something, I would surely be defeated. Damn it! What can happen now?" The 4th Supreme God says,
Looks like I'll have to find a way to get the 8th Supreme God out of the ceiling. But this boy doesn't mean anything anymore. His power is only the essence of the 8th Supreme God. I'll have to go back to Universe 7 and get him. I think we already have a more special presence in Zeno-sama's palace. And yet,
To top it all off, the High Priest is over there. I can feel his energy light years from here. He's definitely on Beerus's side, and Zeno-sama's guards are trying to stop Zeno from coming back. Very interesting. But I would have to resolve this situation now. It was a pleasure to see you here. I have no intention of killing you. In that instant, a great energy is created. Gohan gets angry and says, "Who do you think you are? Return the bodies of Mr. Vegeta and my father soon. I will finish you, even if I have to break all your bones." Ultra God Gogeta, embedded in the Supreme God, starts laughing and says, "That won't do any good. If that's what you want, please come." Gohan tries to launch several attacks on Ultra God Gogeta, which is useless until the moment when Ultra God Gogeta starts to launch several attacks and hits a Big Bang Kamehameha on Gohan. Gohan is knocked away and knocked unconscious. Everything goes dark. Hours go by. Gohan starts blinking his eyes and tries to remember what happened. At that moment, Vados wakes up Gohan and Champa is beside him. Gohan was already on the planet of the God of Destruction of Universe 6. Gohan says, "What happened? Where is the fourth Supreme God? Where's Gogeta?" Champa looks seriously and says,
"Looks like we've been defeated. But they took pity on us for some reason and didn't mean to destroy us. He said he was going directly to Universe 7, and that would wipe out all other threats. I couldn't quite understand what the true purpose of the Supreme Gods is. Do they want to rule everyone and for some reason need us to be alive for that? I cannot understand."
Gohan watches and speaks. "This cannot happen. I need to train and master my powers. But maybe there is another method for us to accomplish and defeat these guys." What is Gohan thinking? Gohan starts to smile. Vados and Champa begin to look with amazement at the smile that Goku's son shows. Universe 7, Zeno-sama's palace. The unknown being continued analyzing the situation. Ultra God Gogeta appears. At that moment, the unknown being says,
"Looks like you've finally arrived. So is this the warrior who is among the most powerful in the universe? Interesting. Now I have a mission for you. You will have to destroy the supreme existence of the planet."
Inside the time chamber, a great battle is about to begin. The three Saiyan face each other with their powers to the maximum, and then the fight begins. Vegeta goes for Broly, who hits him with a blow, pushing him back. Vegeta says, "Oh, he's strong!" Goku goes towards him, releasing upwards and delivering a downward punch, hitting Broly, who ducks, giving space for Vegeta to recover quickly. Vegeta propels himself to the ground with one hand and is launched towards Goku. Vegeta starts to give several blows and Goku dodges. With an impressive speed, Broly leaves for the coma of the two, and an exchange of attacks between the three begins. The fight seems to be very balanced at that moment. Outside, the warriors who decide they must continue their training while waiting for the three Saiyans to leave the time chamber, so Piccolo says, "Gohan, Granola, shall we go to the mountains and train some more?" Gohan nods his head. "Yes." Granola says, "Of course, we will perfect some techniques while we wait." At that moment, the three say goodbye to Mr. Popo and Dende and fly towards the mountains where Piccolo and Gohan usually train. Back in the time chamber, several days have passed and the hard training continues. The three Saiyans meditate and do various types of training to perfect their techniques and seek to overcome their limits. Broly had never trained with friends before, and now he trained with two Saiyans who came from the same place. That makes him very happy. Goku, Vegeta, and Broly, three extremely powerful warriors coming from the Great Warrior race, were there training hard for the qualifiers of the Great Tournament that would arrive soon. Meanwhile, in other universes, several warriors continue to train. Hit had settled on a planet within a galaxy known as the Central Galaxy, where he was training with some very peculiar beings who taught him every powerful murderous technique. On this planet, the beings were known for various agility that could control space, time, creation, and the destruction of matter, thus teaching several new skills to Hit. Now he could create energy weapons using the atoms and particles of ki that he himself produced.
thus being able to create knives, swords, spears, shields, and various objects just by using a little concentration and a small part of his ki. On the Sadala planet, Kale, Kefla, and Kaba continue their training. The two girls have already managed to overcome their limits and develop incredibly powerful techniques. Kaba had also become a very powerful warrior and had already surpassed the powers of a Super Saiyan. Jiren had become closer to his friend Toppo, and the two managed to become extremely powerful. Toppo had already obtained the agility to control his power of destruction, and Jiren can improve with his overwhelming power. Earth, Universe 7. Piccolo, Gohan, and Granola continue training together. The three have improved a lot and develop incredible techniques. Gohan and Piccolo watch while Granola develops a new technique. He meditates above the mountains, concentrating all his ki, causing him to gather the maximum power in a small space of time. After that, he made it expand by releasing massive and destructive energy around him. He called this massive ki breathing technique. Gohan tells Piccolo, "It's amazing how Granola managed to increase his powers in a time chamber. And here on Earth, isn't it, Mr. Piccolo?" Piccolo answers,
Yes, Gohan. He is very powerful now.
Gohan continues to say, "It looks like he's almost mastered the new technique." And Piccolo completes by saying,
We should create new techniques too, don't you think? After all, in this new tournament, we will need to surprise everyone.
Gohan agrees, and they continue their training. Meanwhile, Frieza continues to travel the universe with his army. Frieza, on his ship, happy after being summoned to the tournament, imagine what it will be like when he becomes a deity. Frieza says, "I managed to adapt my Black Frieza form. Now that I have overwhelming power, I will be able to carry out my revenge." Frieza laughs and continues talking. "But now I'm going to dedicate myself to becoming a god of destruction. When I obtain this power of divinity, there will be nothing that can stop me. And everything that I've ever dreamed of will be possible." In celebration, Frieza decides to descend to a planet that was nearby and conquer it with his own hands. He was determined to become a god, and nothing would stand in his way. Frieza, a cold, ambitious, and evil demon with a deep hatred for Saiyans, had never hidden his ambitions, and at this moment was more determined than ever to fulfill his goals of becoming an evil god emperor. Back in the time chamber, we see the warriors taking a break from their training, where they talked a little. Broly says, "We've been here for a few months now, and this is pretty weird." Goku responds, "Outside, not even a day has passed." Vegeta says,
You idiots are not going to keep on training?
Broly responds, "I miss my friends, but I know this training is making me more powerful, and maybe I can control myself when I get mad." Goku says, "Broly, your powers are much greater. Maybe now you can control them." Broly lowers his head, sighs, and doesn't answer. Goku stands up, closes fists, and says, "Well, let's get back to training." At that moment, we see Gohan training with Piccolo. Piccolo makes a huge energy shield around himself and tells Gohan,
Come, but don't hold back, Gohan.
He prepares his ki, clasping his hands above his head and concentrating a reasonable amount of energy. He shouts, "Supremazinko!" At that moment, countless spheres of energy leaves his head, going at extreme speed towards Piccolo, who with great difficulty tries to defend himself. And Piccolo says,
You did it, boy. You obtained an extremely powerful new technique. If you used all your power to attack me, I would be in pieces right now.
The hours passed quickly, and it was time to go back to the temple. As Goku, Vegeta, and Broly were about to leave the time chamber, and everyone was curious to see how powerful they've become, the three warriors head towards the temple at high speed, with the intention of arriving before the three Saiyans leave. In the temple of Dende, he carefully observed the door of the time chamber and said, "A few minutes, they will already leave. Have they managed to evolve their powers?" At that moment, we see Goku and Vegeta together with Broly still training. They wage a battle intent. Vegeta fires his final flash in the direction of the two, Broly throwing his energy sphere. Goku charges his Kamehameha as he goes towards them. The three begin to go from side to side, attacking with fury. Suddenly, Broly powers begin to expand wildly. It was the first time he would lose control in a long time. Vegeta tries to stop him and Broly grabs Vegeta's head and starts hitting him on the ground. While Goku hit him with countless punches and kicks, and Broly felt absolutely nothing. With the other hand, Broly holds Goku by the face and makes the two Saiyans hit each other's head, making them dizzy. Goku managed to break free, but Vegeta was still punished by Broly, who knocks him to the ground and starts stomping his face several times. Goku screams, "Kamehame!" hitting Broly with all his power. He continues advancing towards the Saiyan. Vegeta still is lying on the ground, totally defeated, unconscious. His left arm was broken, several ribs injured, and his leg had been crushed. With training, Broly had become 100 times more powerful. And now that he had reached his form without conscience, his power had multiplied thousands of times. Goku finds himself cornered, and Broly quickly approaches, hitting him in the belly, making him spit blood. Then Broly presses to the ground, holding his face. Broly's hand was bathed in Goku's blood. The gigantic Saiyan punished him by giving several powerful blows to his belly. Goku looks into Broly's furious eyes, slowly stretches his hand towards Vegeta, and just as he's about to lose consciousness and pass out, a small glow passes through his fingers and starts to climb up to his arm. His hair starts to change colors, and everything around him starts to vibrate. Outside the time chamber, the sky darkens, and several rays begin to fall from the sky. Goku's eyes shine brightly, and Broly's blows get slower and slower. At that moment, a gigantic explosion happens, throwing Broly away, and Goku manages to achieve a new transformation. Inside the time chamber, everything shook and the sky darkened, and all he could see was the glow of intent emanating from Goku. Broly, still out of control, lunges at him, and all that can be seen is Goku's hand slowly reaching up and touching Broly's face. At this moment, a gigantic explosion of light takes over everything, and then everything goes dark again. Outside the temple, the warriors who approached in an instant sense a very powerful presence. Piccolo at this moment speaks.
Did you feel this awesome power? I couldn't detect a single key, but I sensed a presence more intimidating than the presence of Beerus himself.
Gohan responds, I also felt that. What could it be? Granola says, is that an enemy? They keep going to the temple. Frieza was now more powerful than ever to achieve his goals. His evil mind can't stop imagining everything he can do if he achieves his goals. His plans and desires now seem to be getting closer and closer. In an unknown universe, in a distant galaxy, in an empty and dark shadow place, three silhouettes appear in the midst of darkness. Could these be the warriors from a universe we didn't know yet? Beings with a dark and evil aura. The being who was in the center, who appears to be the leader, with a frighteningly evil voice, he said, The time has come for us to begin and put our plan into practice. Everything is already decided, and nothing can stop us. This time, we will become the supreme sovereigns. Going back to the time chamber, we see Vegeta throwing water over Goku, who was unconscious. Goku awakens and asks, Are you okay, Vegeta? What happened? Vegeta says,
I don't remember very well, but Broly was out of control and the damn thing knocked me out. And from that moment, I can't remember anything. I just know that I woke up after a while and you were out. And I was very hurt. But I managed to reach the sensu beans and then I recovered. And so I came to wake you up.
Goku gets up and asks, Where's Broly? Goku closes his eyes and leans in and says, I can sense his ki, but it's pretty weak and it's too far from here. I'm going to get him. Goku then teleports to another place within the time chamber. Locating Broly, he sees him unconscious, with his clothes torn and extremely injured, and then he puts his hand on him and teleports back to where Vegeta was. Broly awakens and asks, What happened? I can't remember. I was out of control again, wasn't I? Sorry, I didn't expect this to happen. Vegeta then, being aggressive as usual, yells,
You damn bastard! You can't control your useless power and you still don't remember a thing!
Goku then starts to say, Calm down, Vegeta. You and I can't remember what happened either. In fact, the three of us lost because we have no idea what ended up happening. Vegeta then crosses his arms and frowns. He looks in the sides and says,
Damn it. I was close to dying and that made my powers increase even more. So this time I won't kill this idiot.
Goku then says, Well, we still have a few hours to stay here. So, shall we go back to training? Vegeta agrees, and Broly's still a little unsure of continuing with the training because he was insecure, afraid of losing control again. So Goku, with his polite and extroverted way, says, "Hey, trust yourself. I know you won't lose control again." He smiles and puts his hand on Broly's head. And then the three Saiyans go back to training. They had only a few hours left there. Outside the temple, Gohan, Piccolo, and Granola arrives. And Gohan asks, "Does it take a lot of time for them to leave yet?" Dende answers, "No, it's almost time. They're probably going to leave any minute now." At that moment, everyone there begins to feel an overwhelming pressure. Piccolo, surprised and serious, says,
"They're coming."
The door of the time chamber opens, and at that moment the three warriors came out. Their powers had grown in an unimaginable way, and even the warriors who were out there watching can't believe it. Or if you want, you can imagine how powerful those three warriors were. Goku then smiles, says, "Hey guys!" Impressed, Gohan asks, Father, your powers are incredible. How did you reach this level?" Goku, still confused, says, "Gohan, honestly, we don't even know what happened in there. I just know that I feel my powers flow in a way I never felt before." Piccolo then approaches and asks,
"Goku, are you going to look for someone else for the tournament? Because so far there's only us."
After hearing this, Goku responds, I still don't know who I can call, but I have an idea. I'll be right back." Then suddenly Goku teleports away. Already? Goku arrives at the planet of destruction and meets Whis. He already arrived asking, "Hey, Mr. Whis, where's Lord Beerus?" And Whis responds, "I sent him to a place where only some gods can go. He told me he needed to prepare and do some training. So I sent him there because it's a perfect place for a god of destruction to hone his powers. And he is the only one who would bear to train in a place like that, so you won't find him here. Do you need him for anything?" Goku, with wide open eyes, comes very close to Whis and excitedly says, "Mr. Whis, would you let me go to that place too?" Whis hits Goku's head with his staff and says, "I just said it's a place made specially for gods of destruction. By any chance you're a god of destruction and I'm not aware of it?" Goku, who had fallen sitting on the ground, responds, "Ow, ow, 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 ow! It hurts, Sir Whis." "Well, I'm not. I just imagined it would be an amazing place to train, and so I wanted to go there. Ow! You didn't have to hit me so hard." Whis speaks, "That's what you deserve." Goku then responds, "Oh, I almost forgot. Do you know how many Universe Warriors should go to the tournament? And could you tell me?" Whis responds, "Goku, you didn't pay attention to the rules, did you?" "Alright, I will explain to you. Each universe can take an indefinite number of warriors as long as it does not exceed the limits of 10. For the playoff, these warriors will be drawn in battles until only the necessary amount is left, which in this case is 12, and they are left to face the gods of destruction. Do you understand now, little guy?" Goku then says, "Oh, so there's no need to look for anyone anymore." Whis then speaks, "I'm going to give you a very important information. An angel was sent to each universe to invite the warriors, but powerful ones who had not been called, or who were not invited to the meeting. We communicated that there would be a tournament, so this time the universes don't have to worry and look for more warriors. Because it would be very difficult to know which warrior would be able to participate apart from the people who were invited, but all those who were present at the meeting. The great high priest already took the necessary steps to summon them." Goku scratches his head and says, "Damn, I didn't understand anything." Whis smiles and says, "In addition to the participants you called, don't worry about calling other people. We've already taken care of that." Goku, still confused, just reply, "Okie dokie then. Will you take me to Beerus?" Angry Whis replied, "I already said no." Laughing, Goku teleports back to Earth. Meanwhile, in Universe 6, Jiren and Toppo continue their training. At that moment, they were in a fierce combat to know how far they could increase their powers. Toppo, in this form god of destruction, flew quickly towards Jiren, who was calm with his arms crossed and his eyes closed. When he noticed that Toppo was approaching to attack him, he just opened his eyes and only with the pressure of his powers managed to repel the attack from above. He raises his hand with 2 fingers pointing upwards, causing a key sphere to emerge from the ground below Jiren, catching him by surprise. Jiren, then high up, punches the air and the crushing pressure of his fist hits Toppo's back. Thrown to the ground, Toppo recovers, quickly raises his hand and screams, "Justice? Flash!" Firing dozens of attacks in an instant. Jiren flies to the sides, dodging all attacks and then boosts himself appearing in front of Toppo with absurd speed. And Toppo only realized it when he heard, "You're finished." At that moment, Toppo looks down and sees Jiren's closed fist touching his body, understanding that he had been defeated. Everyone was looking forward to the tournament qualifiers. Goku arrives on Earth after talking to Whis and solving his doubts in a part. From this moment, all they could do was wait. Everyone was excited and anxious for the great battle to begin. There was still some days left for the tournament to start, so Goku and the others decided to train a little more until there were only 2 days left. And in those 2 days they would rest, so that they had all the energy to fight. Frieza, the great emperor of evil, was too anxious to be able to wait until the day that the qualifiers would start. And then, to meet his need for combat, he traveled around the universe, finding some planets where they simply destroy them, thus letting the days pass a little less boring. In other universes, several warriors prepared to give their all to increase their powers. In a distant universe, some warriors decide to get together so that they can make a mini tournament among themselves so that they can expand their powers. In another one, the beings from that place just waited patiently. And everything was being meticulously planned for this incredible tournament to be held to decide who would be the new gods of destruction of the universes. A few days passed, and Goku is already at his house with his wife Chi-Chi and his youngest son Goten. Broly had gone to stay at Goku's house while they wait for the day that the qualifiers would start. Krillin arrives on an unexpected visit with Gohan and Piccolo, and everyone decides that they would go to the riverside so that they could have a moment of leisure and getting to relax a little first of all. Arriving there, everyone is happy and excited. But Broly is just sitting, watching the river pass. Watching the birds, the trees, the grass, and all the animals that they were there. Broly looked sad. At that moment, Goku approaches and the two begin to talk. Goku says, "Hey Broly, how's it going? You seem to be upset about something." And Broly answers, "No, it's not a big deal." Goku continues to say, "Sure, everyone is happy and excited, but you're sitting here very quietly. What happened?" Broly then starts to say, "I don't know if I should be here. My powers drive me crazy sometimes and I'm dangerous." Goku watches and says, "I understand. But don't you remember anything that happens when you're in that form?" Broly responds, "Most things don't, but I see some flashes in my mind of some things that happened." Goku looks seriously at Broly. "Hey, you don't have to be like that. Let's figure out a way to help you control your powers." At that moment, Broly says, "Goku, I remember something that happened in a time chamber. I remember seeing a Super Saiyan with a different form, and suddenly a flash, and I don't remember anything else." Goku is surprised and says, "It was just me, you, and Vegeta. I'm sure there was no one else there." Broly is confused and says, "It felt so real. I'm sure I saw a strange figure that I had never seen before. That was a Saiyan." Goku gets thoughtful and suddenly says, "I don't think there really was someone else there but us. But I'll try to figure out something." With these doubts, they continued to wait for the day of the qualifiers. And the days passed slowly. There were only 2 days left for the qualifiers to start. Hit, the assassin from Universe 6, is finishing his training. He had obtained incredible powers, and at that moment he was going to a planet where several warriors from Universe 6 would meet. Saiyans from that universe, Jiren, so they wait until the long-awaited day. On planet Earth, all the warriors go to Bulma's house, and there they gather. On planet Earth, all the warriors go to Bulma's house, and there they gather so they can wait. In the other universes, everyone starts to gather in specific places so that they can reach the tournament site together. Meanwhile, Frieza continued having fun destroying some planets, so that time passed faster, for he was eager to become the god of destruction. Frieza has just landed on an unknown planet where several families resided, simple-minded beings who watched the evil emperor approach, and then the leader of that community appears. Frieza arrives next to them. The leader arrives next to receive him and says, "Welcome, my good sir, to our humble home, where we can serve you." "Welcome, my good sir, to our humble home so that we can serve you." Frieza then starts laughing. And he responds, "That's right. I want you to serve me, but I have no interest in you, so just die." At this moment, Frieza shoots a blast of energy that crosses the chest of the leader, and everyone starts desperately running away. Frieza fires numerous attacks, wiping out most of the inhabitants. Some manage to run away and hide. Frieza starts to fly, and while flying through the sky stops and observes everything around him and says, "I will not waste my time looking for each one of you. I will exterminate you all." And then Frieza starts to rise, flies higher, raises his hand with the tip of his finger and starts to laugh. As a sphere of energy begins to form, that power takes on absurdly gigantic proportions, and with an evil laugh, "More fireworks!" he hurls it at the planet. Right now, we can watch that little world break up into little pieces. And so Frieza, Emperor of the Universe, destroys yet another race. When approaching slowly and possible to see, Frieza amidst the wreckage as if nothing had happened. His eyes filled with evil looks ecstatic for destruction. He says, "What beautiful fireworks!" After which, he raises his arm and contemplates the magnitude of his powers. Back for the planet Earth, we can observe all the warriors gathered, and we see Gohan surprised as he asks, "Dad, then the other warriors of our universe were called, which we still don't know." And Piccolo completes saying, "Goku, you could have at least asked Whis how the warriors were summoned, so that we don't even have a surprise." Goku embarrassed in response, "I kind of forgot. He hit me with the staff on my head, so I didn't have time to ask." At this point, Vegeta looks over and just sighs. Trunks and Goten run over and ask Gohan, "Big brother, can I participate too? There will be very strong guys there." Gohan bends down, puts his hand on his head and says, "You can't go there because all the warriors have already been summoned. But maybe in the next one we can take you. In the meantime, train and get very strong." Goten gets a little upset but manages to understand and says motivated, "I'll try hard, and next time I'll be stronger than you." I will wait. And Vegeta, he walked from one side to another with his little daughter in his arms and said, "Why did this bunch of idiots have to come here?" And acting a little goofy, he says, looking at his daughter, "They're disturbing the great little princess of all Saiyans to sleep." Then they come across with Bulma looking at him. At this moment, he immediately regains all his Saiyan pride and says, "Take her, Bulma. She wants to sleep." Handing her daughter in Bulma's arms, turning her back with a flushed face, crossing her arms and walking away. Bulma lets out a slight smile and says to her little daughter, "Dad is so affectionate, right? But he has to maintain a macho attitude." Time continues to pass, and a few hours later, it wasn't long before they went to the tournament qualifiers. Everyone was gathered there, awaiting anxiously for the time to go to arrive. And then Whis arises in that spot. And then he starts to say, "Gentlemen, are you all here? It's time to go." The Z warriors say goodbye to their families, and together with Whis, they leave. Sometime later during the trip, they were making a cosmic cube. Goku asks Whis, "When will this tournament take place, Mr. Whis?" And Whis responds, "The tournament will be had in an empty universe. Lord Zerno himself provided it so that all warriors can present all their skills. We have already built the arena, and now we are just taking everyone to start." And finally, the long-awaited moment arrives. As the warriors approach, they observe a gigantic construction wandering in the middle of the empty universe. And they begin to observe that there were already several warriors from various universes, and there would be the place where a spectacular battle would begin.
In an empty universe created by Zeno, the warriors are now approaching a large arena where the qualifying matches will take place for the great tournament of destruction. Upon arrival, the warriors face countless other fighters and manage to notice some familiar faces among them. Goku is proud and admired to see so many powerful people gathered in one place. Goku is proud and admired to see so many powerful people gathered in one place. In this moment, Goku says, "Wow, there are incredible powerful beings here." They also fear Jiren and Hit, and several other warriors who will participate in the tournament. Sniffing around, suddenly Goku gets scared and screams, "Holy crap, isn't that Frieza? What is he doing here?" Gohan also looks around and says, "I guess they didn't tell him we didn't invite him." At this moment, the Supreme Priest stands on the stage and begins to speak. "Ladies and gentlemen summoned,
Surely we will begin the elimination phase of the Great Tournament of Destruction. But before, we will explain how the battles will take place. I see that we have many warriors around here, approximately 600 fighters in search of glory, wanting to become a god of destruction. Then we will start with a royal battle, where everyone will fight at the same time, and the first 50 that are left will advance to the next phase. We will give a little while so that we can rest, and after that we will do another real battle. And there will be only 24 warriors left, who will have more time to recover their energies. And then we will start the fight 1 against 1 so that the best 12 will be chosen. The battles do not have a time limit. There are also no rules that the impression of killing your opponent is worth everything. Because if you're opponents, then you are not in a position to fight, or if you ask to leave, you will be disqualified and the fight ends. Oh, and there's one last important thing. All those who are defeated will be instantly extinguished, and that will be the rules of this elimination phase. I hope you appreciate the beginning of the Great Tournament of Destruction.
All the people who are there are beginning to look worried, and in a tense atmosphere they will not be. And the High Priest calmly continues to say,
Keep in mind that this phase of this tournament will be long and delayed. We have prepared some facilities to accommodate them, and whenever necessary, they will be able to stay in this place.
The Supreme Priest raises his hand, pointing to where the archdwarves were located, and to one side it's possible to see a gigantic tower, with several rooms and gigantic windows. This tower is divided by floors. Each floor corresponds to where each universe should be, and then the Supreme Priest says,
The first stage will start in 30 minutes. All warriors go to the tower so that you know your place, and we will meet again in 30 minutes.
At this moment, all the warriors, shaken by what they've just heard, head towards the tower. Universe 7 accommodations. Upon reaching the floor where the Universe 7 warriors would stay, Goku and the others notice that Frieza was right there. Goku approaches and says to Frieza,
What are you doing here, Frieza? And then Frieza responds, I was summoned to participate in the tournament. After all, I was the most powerful being in the universe. And now, I have the chance to become the god of destruction. By chance you didn't think I'd stay out of this?
Vegeta butts in, already saying, You will never become a god, even if I have to kill you again, you insect. And apparently you don't get tired of being killed by the Saiyans. At this moment, a tense mood arises, and Frieza looks seriously at Vegeta and responds,
Want to try, insect? I won't have to wait until the tournament starts. I will finish you right here and now.
And Vegeta starts grinding his teeth in rage. And Goku appears, interrupting them, saying,
Calm down, guys. We'll settle this inside the arena for the time being and pretend we're friends. All right? Vegeta?
All right, Kakarot.
Fine by my terms.
Each floor of the tower was made up of countless rooms, each room named after the warrior or warriors who would settle there. They all reach a hallway where they notice several doors with their names written on them. Gohan finds his room, Piccolo finds his, and everyone else too. However, Vegeta's room would be between Goku's room and Frieza's room. As Vegeta approaches, he sees his name on the door, and when he looks at the side, he sees Goku, and when he looks on the other side, he sees the writing Frieza, the Emperor of Evil. And Frieza approaches at that moment and starts to laugh. Vegeta angrily looks at him and says, What are you laughing at, you imbecile?
And Frieza replies, Even here they recognize me as the Emperor of Evil. And on yours it says simply Vegeta. You weren't the little prince of that insignificant planet.
Vegeta is furious, and Frieza is still laughing. Frieza opens the door to his room and simply slams the door in Vegeta's face. In a comical scene, Vegeta says, How get him? How get him? How get him? While Goku holds him with his clothes, so he can calm down. And Goku keeps saying,
Come down, Vegeta! Come down, Vegeta! A few minutes pass and we can observe Piccolo inside his room, where we can see a huge window facing the arena where you could see everything perfectly. Then Piccolo says,
This place is really amazing. They've thought of everything. They prepared a feast, bad TV, everything's here, so that we can feel comfortable. And all this while we use them for their own amusement.
Meanwhile, on the other floors, we can see that each room adapts to the style of who will stay with it. We see Jiren's room where he was meditating, feeling a gentle breeze on his face. We can see Hit's room, which was a typical killer's room, obscure and gloomy, the way he just preferred. We see the room of each of the Saiyans from the Universe 6, who adapted to their personality. We can see that each warrior of each universe would feel extremely comfortable in their environment. And so the 30-minute pass, and everyone is summoned back to the arena, where we see the High Priest Zeno-sama just waiting for the warriors to arrive. When everyone arrives, everyone bows to the great Zeno, and at that moment the Supreme Priest says, "Everyone head to the center of the arena." And Daishinkan instruct them to get ready. Everyone takes a stand. And the great priest says again, "Everyone knows the rules, so do your best. Try your hardest. And get started!" At this moment, Zeno is already ecstatic because we can see warriors fighting each other, explosions all over the place. We can then notice that the warriors of Universe 7 begin to dissipate, each one to one side. Without thinking twice, Vegeta goes after Frieza, who had already disappeared and missed the explosions, and then Vegeta is faced with an enemy that hits him with incredible force, knocking him to the ground. At this moment, the enemy approaches Vegeta slowly with the intention of exterminating him. But Gyabe quickly appears, hitting that being, causing it to be the first eliminated. When that being fell from the arena, it automatically disappears, thus having its existence erased. Kaba extends his hand to Vegeta and says, "Are you okay, Master?" Vegeta slaps Kaba's hand and orders, "Don't ever meddle with my fight again or I'll kill you!" Vegeta gets up and walks towards the post. But Vegeta stops and looks back out of the corner to his eyes and says,
You've grown so much, Kaba. I'm proud of you.
Then he continues walking, and Kaba is very happy to receive a compliment from the Saiyan Prince. In another corner of the arena, we see Jiren with his arms crossed, just watching as an unknown being approaches and launches numerous attacks against him. That doesn't even show a reaction. Jiren just raises his hand, striking lightly, his enemy flinching him away as if he were just an insect, and then with an opposing voice he says,
It's not you I want to fight.
And then we see warriors being taken out quickly, and we see other battle ensue. We can notice 3 extremely dark warriors who did not part, and who easily defeated anyone who approached them. That way, without attracting attention, they just walked from one side to the other, eliminating all those who get in their way. These beings didn't say anything at all, they just watched them protect themselves. Zeno-sama could barely contain himself, but the great tournament of destruction has just begun, and several incredible battles have already taken place.
The great tournament of destruction begins. Hundreds of warriors clash in battles beyond imagination. The Z warriors fought with everything they had, and everything would be decided in this tournament. Several battles take place at the same time. Kaol is fighting a very powerful enemy that has taken her away from her friends in Universe 6. Hit shows off his assassin skills. Since there were no rules preventing him from killing his opponents, he could give it his all. At that moment, Gohan faced an extremely powerful enemy who had the ability to liquefy, becoming a kind of conscious liquid that spread everywhere. And he could also revert back to normal with a humanoid form so he could attack. Gohan flies towards the enemy, and Gohan tries to attack him, only it liquefies and Gohan ends up slipping and sliding to the edge. At this point, he lets out a blast of ki, which takes him back to the safe arena. Gohan tries to attack his enemy but fails. He thinks of a way to defeat this enemy, and then comes Piccolo, who runs to help. At that moment, Piccolo starts to carry his most powerful power. The enemy changes back to normal form to attack Gohan, but when Gohan tries to counterattack, the enemy liquefies. Therefore, it is practically impossible to hit by the blows. At this moment, we see Piccolo preparing to put his strategy into action. Piccolo shouts, "Get away, Gohan!" And Piccolo uses his Macaco Sampo screaming attack. The enemy tries to liquefy to dodge his attack, but even in liquid form, he's hit and thrown away. In another corner of the arena, several fights take place. Goku uses his power to face several enemies at the same time, and Broly would be able to fight calmly with several enemies at this point. And Broly starts to be pushed back and then bumps into Kale, who stares at him, and suddenly Kale says,
Careful!
Broly turns, slashing the air, causing the force of his blow to push enemies away. Broly and Kale are alone, looking at each other, facing each other. Broly approaches and stares straight into her eyes. So Broly says, "Hi, what's your name?" And she's blushing, puts her hand on her face, and stammeringly replies,
Me? My name? My name's Kale. And you? And yours?
And he responds,
I'm Broly. I feel something different looking at you. Your energy has something strange.
At that time, she turns completely red, embarrassed. Broly approaches even more and says,
You're also a Saiyan like me, and not only that, it seemed to be the same.
Kale doesn't understand anything, and she's still very embarrassed, when suddenly a gigantic ki blast comes towards the two. Broly holds her in his lap and turns around. Protecting her from the attack, and with her in his arms says,
Are you okay?
Kale responds,
Yes, you saved me.
Meanwhile, Frieza was having a hard time. He was cornered by 4 enemies who attacked him from all directions. He was hit by punches and kicks, and they pushed to the sides until Vegeta appears, releasing a power Final Flash, throwing the aggressors out of the arena. Frieza looks at Vegeta and says,
Do not bother me if you meddle in one or more of my fights. I vote Kale.
Vegeta starts laughing. You really are a disgusting worm. This time, there's nothing and no one can get in my way of my goal of ending you. At that moment, Vegeta throws a punch against Frieza, who defends himself and then returns the attack. And then Frieza says,
Are you sure you want to face me now? I think it's still too early to kill all the Saiyans.
Vegeta then responds, Why don't you shut your mouth while I finish punching you in the face? Vegeta throws a punch towards Frieza, who dodges quickly, landing a blow on Vegeta's belly. And Frieza sarcastically responds,
I'm so sorry. For now, I don't want to fight you, as it would be too easy. Try to get stronger like Goku, then maybe it's not a waste of time.
And Vegeta uses his speed, disappearing from there, going to the other side of the arena. Vegeta recovers from the blow and gets up in a rage, raising your ki and screaming, Goku had already eliminated some enemies and was looking around. When suddenly he's hit by Hit, which appears in front of him saying, Long time no see, Goku. I just wanted to see if you're stronger now. Goku responds, Hit! You're pretty powerful. This time, I'm not just the same anymore. You can come attack me with everything. Hit responds, Too excited to see how much you evolved it. Hit goes to Goku's back by hitting him several times, and Goku dodges each attack. Hit smiles, and then Goku is hit with a blow sequence. When Goku realizes the hit was several meters away, and after that, Goku can feel the impact of the blows that have been launched against him. Goku then kneels down in pain and says, Damn you, you really are more powerful than before. I didn't even see where the attacks came from. Hit says, And as I told you, I attacked you. At this moment, Goku looks closely at Hit, who is still standing in the same place. And without looking away or paying attention, Goku feels the attack hit him again. Goku then thinks out loud, Where are these attacks coming from? You haven't moved, I'm sure. Hit's response, Want me to do it again? Maybe this time you'll notice. Goku says, Come on. Hit answer, There I go. At that moment, Hit doesn't even move, but Goku feels several attacks, a sequence of blows, ravagers that rip his clothes off and leaves him with a few minor injuries. Hit said, You won't be able to figure out what's going on, but when I tell you, it won't make a difference. Goku watches closely and Hit begins to explain. Since the last time we fought, I understood that I couldn't get to you with my time jump again, and so I evolved, and even that wouldn't be enough. And that's how I decided that I needed to rediscover it and recreate it. So with you, I won't use a time jump anymore. I'll use the infinite time jump.
That's why I know that I have already defeated you. My technique has reached to a point where it can transition between time at any point in our battle, so I can attack you. And by deactivating it, you will feel these attacks. So at this very moment, I didn't attack even once. But you already received all my attacks, and in a few seconds, you had felt their impact. At that moment, we can see that the hit techniques are completely more powerful, and Hit continues to explain. My infinite time jump consists of manipulating reality and transiting between time and space that our battle would last. So I can simply finish you off during that time, and you will only realize when you are already defeated. Goku is surprised by this ability, but Goku says, it really is an incredible ability, and that means that automatically you already know everything that will happen in our combat. So to defeat you, the solution is very simple. I just need to not face you. So our fight didn't happen, so you won't have to hit me even once, which means you lost. At this moment, Goku crosses his arms and stops fighting. Hit gets enraged and goes after him. At this moment, Goku attacks him with a sphere of ki, causing him to be thrown away. Goku really is a genius of battle, and he managed to find a gap in an incredible ability to hit, making his invincible time leap a great weakness. At this moment then, we see Hit stand up and says, Son Goku, you are the only enemy capable of making me stronger. I will grow even more, and I will evolve, and soon I will be able to beat you. At this point in the elimination phase, we can see that hundreds of warriors have already been eliminated, but the battle still continues. And extremely powerful warriors will still have their battles approaching. It's been about 15 minutes since the start of the knockout phase. The eliminations of the tournament begin to get more and more incredible. Extremely powerful warriors face each other, and everything is moving forward so that the strongest survive and manage to pass to the next stage. Daishi-kun watches the magnificent battles and says to Zeno, Mr. Zeno, are you satisfied with the phase of the tournament?
And Zeno responds,
But of course, it's amazing. Who will survive?
Inside the arena, it is possible to observe countless impressive explosions of energy. Several parts of the arena were already in ruins, and amidst the wreckage, it is possible to see Caulifla, who is looking for Kale. Caulifla says at that moment,
Where did that girl go?
And scream,
Kale!
At that moment, she hears a familiar voice.
Hi, it's been a while since we've seen each other, right?
When looking back, she noticed that who was there was none other than Goku. And then she says,
Hey, old man, it's you. You want to fight me, right? Now I don't have time for you. I'm looking for Kale. I want to know how powerful you got.
And so Caulifla says,
Old man, when you see my powers, your jaw will drop.
The two strike a fighting pose and are about to start a big Saiyan confrontation. Jiren and Toppo are side by side, repelling all enemies that try to face them. The power of both is impressive. All battles are extremely overwhelming, and it is not known for sure who will win this incredible round. Hit was frustrated as he didn't get a chance to show off his other skill that he had achieved. At that instant, Hit says, Son Goku, you really are amazing. I haven't had time to show you my full power, but I know that our confrontation is far from over. I will fight you again. At that moment, two enemies appear, and Hit senses their presence. In seconds, he charges an amount of aura in the palm of his hand. Hit creates two knives with his ki and throws them towards the enemies. The weapons explode, causing the two to fall from the arena and thus being eliminated. Hit then says, Soon we will fight again, Son Goku. And this time, that will be the last. The mysterious being that walked around the arena avoiding conflicts just found extremely powerful beings that confronted him. Cyber, Vitus, and Kaithak. Very strong beings from a forgotten universe. They decided to win this confrontation, and when they realized that those three who were just dodging whatever enemies imagined that they would not be a great challenge to overcome. When seeing the three with their dark cloaks and their hoods that cover the entire face, Cyber says,
Those over there avoiding battles must be wimps.
Vitus responds,
Weaklings won't last long here. Let's finish them off at once.
and everyone agrees. The three confront those mysterious beings and immediately go on the attack, a sequence of blows and strikes. Quickly, they taking distance and hurling countless K-blasts. Smoke takes over everything, and there is the sound of several blows being fired. Then the smoke begins to dissipate, and we see Cyber, Fighters, and Kaithek lying on the edge of the arena completely defeated, unconscious. At that moment, one of the three mysterious warriors, the one that was bigger in the size being extremely disproportionate to the others, was standing beside the three defeated ones and mercilessly kicks them out of the arena, eliminating them. About 40% of the warriors who participated on this phase have already been defeated. Vegeta is extremely furious because he feels humiliated in a previous round by Frieza. Vegeta says, "Oh, what the hell? That bastard belittled my damn powers!" Coming from afar, Vegeta hears a voice that says,
Hey, Master!
Kyabe approaches Vegeta saying,
Master, there you are!
Vegeta responds, "Shut up, insect." Kyabe approaches and stands beside his master. Suddenly, when we see the two realize they are surrounded by enemies, Vegeta then says, "Useless. Get ready, boy." At that moment, the two strike a combat pose and Vegeta continues to say, "Don't you dare lose to these vermin. You're a Saiyan." Kyabe responds,
Yes, sir!
At that moment, the enemies go up. Vegeta and Kyabe begin to fight together, dodging and delivering incredible attacks. The enemies are relentless, but Kyabe and Vegeta begin to synchronize their attacks. Vegeta holds Kyabe's arm, throwing him upwards. Kyabe hits the enemy that was coming from there, and leans on Vegeta that spins, hitting the enemy that came from behind. Kyabe screams, "Master, now!" And Vegeta throws him again. And then it also jumps. At this time, the two side by side charge their energies and shoot a gigantic attack and defeat their enemies. Kyabe said to Vegeta,
Master, that was amazing! You're amazing!
Vegeta crosses his arms and responds, "You also improved a bit." On the other side of the arena, we see Broly and Kale, who are still confused because they feel that there is something that makes them have a connection. At this moment, the great Emperor of Evil, Frieza, appears before them, who amidst laughter says,
Well, well, what do we have here? 2 Saiyan cockroaches. Monkeys. Should I break up you or have fun somewhere else?
Broly makes a serious expression, and Kale is worried about a drop of sweat running down her face. Frieza, who was on top of a pierce of the arena that had broken, jumps and lands on the ground and starts approaching slowly. Broly then says,
Kale, beware. This guy's very dangerous.
Kale responds by shaking her head. Broly yells at Frieza,
What do you want here? Want to face us?
Frieza says,
I just want to have some fun. Shall we? Give me some entertainment.
At that moment, Frieza hits Broly with an extremely powerful punch in the stomach, causing him to spit blood, then kicks him, throwing him towards several rocks. And then Frieza uses his ki, making some energy rings and throws them towards Broly, leaving him completely trapped. That way, Broly is unable to move, and Kale advances on top of Frieza, who holds it with his tail, wrapping it around his neck. Then Frieza hits her with a punch on the ribs, and the girl screams with the pain. Frieza continues to choke her with his tail and starts hitting the Saiyan several times with his knee. Broly screams, "Damn, let her go now!" Frieza looks at Broly. Then he raises his hand, slowly putting his index finger on his lips and saying,
Shh. Be quiet, boy. Soon I will play with you too. For now, stand down.
A ring of energy holds the mouth of Broly. He is unable to speak. Broly tries to scream but fails, and Frieza keeps talking.
Be quiet there. When I'm done with her, I'll take care of you.
Kale is almost out of breath, and Frieza is having fun torturing her. Kale managed to hold Frieza's tail, but the villain holds the girl's face and begins to give a sequence of extremely powerful punches to her head countless times. Broly's power starts to rise, and he tries everything to break free. But Frieza is on a completely different level. After his trainings, he had become very powerful. Kale is about to pass out when his head starts to bleed. She releases the Frieza's tail as her strength has apparently ran out. Frieza continues to attack again and again and again. Blood trickles down her face. At that moment, a drop falls slowly and a silence hangs in the air. A gloomy mood takes over everything, and Broly's eyes are enraged. The only sound you can hear is the impact of Frieza's punch hitting the Kale, when suddenly, Broly awakens his berserker rage, and he goes after Frieza, landing a crushing punch to the villain's chest. A huge explosion takes over everything. Zeno, Daishikan, and everyone looks at the monster's energy and are surprised. We see Broly hold Frieza by the head, and he drags him to the arena floor and slams him against countless rocks, causing them to shatter. Frieza feels true despair. At that moment, Broly was no longer conscious, and everyone looked at the monster he had become. With his massive power that he just keeps growing, Kale, who was lying on the ground, wakes up and recovers little by little and feels Broly's energy. Then she observes what is happening. Kale gets up and goes towards Broly, who is letting all his power explode. Broly's power keeps increasing, and everything around her starts to fall apart. At this time, Kale says,
I need to stop him. Otherwise, he will destroy everything here. And he will also destroy himself.
Kale approaches Broly, who screams angrily. Kale, not knowing what to do, she heads towards him, and upon feeling its overwhelming power, she thinks that she's not able to stop it. But in a moment, she calms down, and she comes closer and closer, and as she approaches, she touches Broly's face. And at that moment, everything is silent, and then she kisses him.
The tournament arena is definitely silent. Everyone stops fighting. Broly's ki is calm, and Kale, touching his face lightly after kissing him, starts to feel the change. Broly now regains his control and calms down. Zeno, who was watching everything, observes and at that moment says,
Incredible! She kissed him right! That was a big kiss! What will happen now?
Frieza was watching from afar after taking a beating from the legendary Super Saiyan and just muttered,
Damn Saiyan!
Kale asks, Broly, are you okay? And Broly says nothing. He continues in his berserker form, but at this point he's not out of control. An intense glow comes around him and he begins to change, thus reaching a new form, the form of Super Saiyan 2. At that moment he obtained the ability to transform without becoming a berserker Saiyan, but continuing with the same powers, but without losing consciousness. He looks at Kale and says, Kale, thank you. Thanks to Kale's kind gesture and a feeling of connection that the two had for having these uncontrolled powers, Broly had become an extremely powerful being. Everyone goes back to their fights after this event, and meanwhile, Caulifla says to Goku, Did you see this incredible power just now? It was similar to that of Kale. Has she lost control again? Goku looks to the other side and says, Not this time. It was Broly's ki. He lost control and his ki increased to a level that even I haven't felt before. But now he's calm again, even though his power remains gigantic. How could he control that power? Goku smiles. He looks at Caulifla and says, Well, I'm glad he got over his powers. So, you don't have to worry now. Goku makes a combat pose looking at Caulifla while smile and says, Now we have to continue our fight. Where is the amazing thing you wanted to show me? Caulifla says at that moment, It's okay, old man. Just won't regret it. She calms down. She takes a deep breath and feels her ki flow through her cells. She suddenly lets them explode, raising her power beyond comprehension. Goku is startled, for he sees that her form has changed. At this point, she transforms into a level 3 Super Saiyan, a Super Saiyan 3, and says, So what, old man? What do you think? Goku is surprised and admired by the girl's potential, until he says, Wow, you're amazing. It got to that level so fast. I do not have words. I'm really excited. Goku concentrates, raises ki, and transforms into a Super Saiyan 3 as well. And at that moment, the two go after each other. In an exchange of impressive blows, Zeno says,
Goku is amazing! And Caulifla too! Look at their hair! They're the same! They're very strong!
Caulifla grabs Goku's hair and throws him back into the pile of debris. Goku retaliates with energy shots that do not hit her as she dodges everything. She bounces off side to side and Goku keeps firing. Suddenly, Goku uses teleportation, appearing behind her. Goku is ready to attack, but she turns quickly and lands a kick on him, which he flies away. In the stands are the gods of destruction, impressed with everything they're seeing. Each fight is more interesting than the last. Beerus watched Goku fighting Caulifla. Beerus watches closely and senses that something is not right. He sees Goku getting more and more anxious. Beerus can't tell due to Goku's movements. Goku attacks with several punches and kicks and dodges in every way, but he begins to feel out of breath and suddenly says, "My powers are being consumed faster than normal. What is happening to me?" Caulifla approaches and throws a punch as she screams, "Don't get distracted, or I will kill you!" Goku laughs and says, "You're amazing, but I still couldn't do that." Goku spins and lands an extremely powerful kick on the Caulifla that spits blood and sends her flying. Goku then unleashes a sphere of ki in his direction, causing everything to explode. Caulifla reverts to her base form and passes out in the middle of the arena under some rumble. Goku also returns to normal and feels extremely tired. He sits down on rocks so he can regain his energy. More than 300 participants have already been eliminated, and the battle were still far from over. Broly is next to Kale, who is looking at him in awe due to his new transformation. Broly then looks at her and asks, "Are you okay? You're not hurt, are you?" Kale looks at Broly and responds, "No, you saved me." And she gets red cheeks. But at that moment, Kale says, "I need to find Caulifla. We got separated at the beginning of the term and now I'm worried about her." Broly says, "Your friend? I'll help you find her." And the two go on a quest to find Caulifla. Vegeta and Kabe are together walking through the arena when they suddenly come across Jiren and Toppo. Vegeta says,
Kabe, get out of here. I will face those two.
Kabe says, "Master, I will help you. We'll fight together." Vegeta looks at Kabe angrily and says,
"You worm. You can't stand to fight them. Don't bother me."
Kabe answers at that same moment, "I'm the one who decides who I want to fight or not. Master, you don't decide for me." Vegeta looks at Kabe and says,
If they kill you, that's your problem.
But Vegeta felt proud when he saw that Kabe was discovering what the pride of being a Saiyan was. Jiren looks to the side and sees Vegeta, and at this point he says,
"Is it you, Vegeta?"
Vegeta, with a sarcastic looks, replies,
"How long have we been seeing each other? Jiren, you haven't changed at all. Do you want to face me again to have another beating?"
Vegeta, smiling, responds,
"This time it won't be like the last. I have some new things to show you."
Vegeta then with a serious tone says,
"Kabe, move away."
And then he strikes a fighting pose because he intends to fight as soon as possible. Kabe walks away a little, bumping into Toppo, who looks at him seriously and say,
"Hey there, kid. Do you want to fight too?"
Kabe's stammering answer, "Power, power, power, come on!" and does his fighting pose. Vegeta goes towards Jiren, and as he approaches, he dodges, going to stop behind the big enemy. Jiren turns around calmly and Vegeta ducks, causing Jiren to look down. At this moment, Vegeta digs his hands into the ground and throws a gigantic piece of stone upwards, unbalancing Jiren. Vegeta appears above him with his final flash already charged and scream,
"Final Flash!"
Hitting the gray directly. A huge smoke scream appears, and Vegeta gets extremely confident and says it out loud,
"Hey, Bug! Hey, you worm! Appear soon. I know you can't be defeated that easily."
Immediately as the smoke dissipates, Jiren with arms crossed and a confident look says,
"Is this all you got?"
Vegeta responds,
"Not even close."
And he already transforms into a Super Saiyan, attacking Jiren with all his speed, and he delivers an extremely powerful punch. The first of the two collide, and a big explosion forms. Jiren smiles and says,
"And you really got stronger, but just a little."
Jiren raises his hand and starts hitting Vegeta, who defends himself in every possible way, and in thoughts, Vegeta says,
"Really, as I thought, he's even more powerful, but nothing has changed."
Vegeta ducks, hitting the backside of his spinning leg, which becomes unbalanced and starts to fall. At that moment, Vegeta uses his ki wrapped in his hand like a blade and slashes towards Jiren's chest. who uses one hand to support himself on the ground, and with the other holds Vegeta's hand that is close to punching him. Vegeta uses his ki to propel himself down, and Jiren raises his strength to counterattack. Vegeta says,
"It won't kill you, but at least I'll smash the seal face of yours."
Jiren propels himself to the side, seeing Vegeta's hand pass close to his body, and then uses his energy to throw him away. The two land on their feet and stare at each other. In another corner of the arena, Goku was sitting just trying to recover his strength when suddenly those two mysterious beings found him, and as they approached, they said, well, what do we have here? Goku looks at them and then says, "There's something about you that's familiar to me." Goku gets up and prepares to combat, and the three are positioned face to face with Goku, and another battle is about to begin.
The three mysterious warriors confront Goku, who at this point still hasn't regained his strength after the fight against Caulifla. Goku was extremely tired and felt as if his powers were being drained. Goku looks down at his hands and sees them shaking. Goku at that moment says, "What's going on here?" One of the three warriors approaches and says, "Looks like you're a Saiyan, right? But I see that you're nothing but a weak insect." Goku looks angrily and tries to hit him with a punch. The enemy holds Goku's hands and knees him in the belly, making him spit blood. And when Goku starts to fall, he grabs his hair and says, "Since you're a Saiyan, I'll let you on a secret." He pulls Goku closer and starts whispering something in Goku's ear, who's startled with wide eyes. And when he finished talking, the villain throws Goku up and says, "Try not to die yet, and soon everyone will know." Goku falls to the ground and the enemy are no longer in front of him. Kiabe is at the top front, who looks down on the little Saiyan. Kiabe is in front of Toppo, who looks down on the little Saiyan. Kiabe at this point transforms into a Super Saiyan 2, surprising Toppo with a large ki blast. At that moment, Kiabe jumps and hits the big guy's chin with a kick, unbalancing him. After that, he starts hitting him with several punches. Toppo holds Kiabe's fist and says, "You're strong, but my justice is far stronger." Toppo headbutts Kiabe, making him dizzy, then throws him and says, "You got out of here soon." Kiabe falls wounded, but his strength is far from over. Vegeta and Jiren continue to battle. Vegeta is using all his speed against Jiren and is doing well, but Jiren is relentless and only with brute force repels all the attacks of the Saiyan Prince. Jiren says, "Vegeta, you've grown a lot stronger since the last time, but I'm sure you haven't even started fighting seriously yet." Vegeta then says, "For a serious fight, it'll be more fun. I prefer to start little by little. Come on, Jiren. Come with me and use all your power." Jiren smiles and answers, "Very well. Maybe now you support a little more fight would be against me." At this point, Jiren holds Vegeta's arm that was giving him a sequence of punches. Then he starts throwing several punches at the Saiyan, hitting various parts of his body. Jiren lands a knee that causes Vegeta to bleed. Vegeta tries to fight back, but Jiren doesn't allow it, blocking the attacks with counterattacks and bypassing the defense with even more powerful attacks. Suddenly, Jiren hits Vegeta, throwing him away. Vegeta, still standing, says, "You are really incredible, but not enough for holding me back." At that moment, Vegeta concentrates his power and transforms, his hair turning purple, his eyes completely focused on the battle. And Jiren flies towards him, landing a direct punch on Vegeta's face. He doesn't seem to care and returns the attack with similar and even greater strength than Jiren. In the distance, we see Hit fighting enemies that are a little weaker but difficult to eliminate. Hit uses his new ability and manages to defeat his opponents. Although he continues with his goal of fighting Goku, several warriors have already been defeated and the battle only gets more exciting. The gods who watch everything are extremely worried as they can contemplate how powerful those mortals who face each other there are. Gohan is with Piccolo and the two face several enemies. At this moment, the two can't hold back. Gohan says, "Mr. Piccolo, are we going to finish them off?" And Piccolo says, "Sure, let's go at once." Piccolo raises his ki and Gohan flies over Piccolo. Gohan fires his Mazenko and Piccolo dodges the attack, hitting the enemies that were in front of him and defeat them. A few moments pass and they notice the presence of Sink and Dust.
two warriors from another universe. They approach and without waiting start attacking Gohan and Piccolo at the same time. Several explosions happen everywhere, and Piccolo starts to gather energy for his Makanko Sapo. But he doesn't get the necessary energy in time because Sink attacks him from behind, throwing him away. Gohan, who was fighting Dust, exchanged several blows with him until he was hit by an attack from behind. Sink hit him at close range, hitting him and making him fall to the ground. Piccolo recovers and returns to the battle, approaching Gohan and saying,
This time we go all out.
Gohan agrees. Piccolo raises his ki and by focusing energy his power explodes and he achieves his last orange color transformation. With a serious look he looks at Gohan who screams, and he focuses his ki, transforming into his bestial form. In seconds, the two attack enemies and defeat them easily. Zeno, seeing the incredible power of the two, has his eyes shining, and feeling ecstatic, he has no words. All the gods start sounding cold and disbelieving in the battles that are taking place inside the arena. There are less than 130 warriors left, and the final moment is getting closer, even though there's still a long way to go before the first part of the qualifier ends. Everyone is already exhausted, but afraid of being erased. No one gives up. Kale and Broly find several pieces of rubble in the middle of the arena, and there they find Caulifla, or rather just her arm amidst the stones. Kale runs towards her screaming, Caulifla! And when approaching, she begins to remove all the rubble from above his friend. Broly approaches and helps. Kale has Caulifla in her arms, and she begins to cry. As the tears fall into Caulifla's face, she begins to wake up. Caulifla jumps from Kale's lap and bouncing from side to side starts screaming energetically, Where? Come here, old man, I'm not done with you yet! Kale doesn't understand anything, but she starts laughing. And then she says, Caulifla, what are you doing? Caulifla looks back and sees Kale and runs towards her saying, Glad I found you. Was worried about you, girl. And then after that, Caulifla sees Broly and then says, And who's that strong guy up there? He's handsome, isn't he? Are you flirting with Kale? While nudging Kale with his elbow. Kale becomes extremely embarrassed and walks away quickly, waving her hand and saying, No, of course, it wasn't just a kiss. And then Caulifla seriously looks at her and screams, What? Did you kiss him? Smarty, we came here to fight, not to flirt. Kale's face turns red and she wants to bury her face in the ground in embarrassment. Meanwhile, dozens of more enemies are thrown out. Frieza had recovered from the battle with Broly and was furious in his golden form, throwing countless warriors out and saying nothing. He just attacked whoever came in front of him. Goku, still confused, doesn't understand very well what happened, but decides to continue the qualifiers. He gets up and looks around. At this moment, a peculiar enemy appears that confronts him, and Goku says, You don't give me a second to recover, and already one enemy after another appears. Vegeta, in his Ultra Ego transformation, continues the battle against Jiren and says,
Vegeta, you never cease to amaze me. You are very persistent.
Vegeta responds,
What was that? Are you already tired, Jiren? I haven't even barely started yet.
Vegeta goes towards Jiren and lands a knee on his chin, causing him to go backwards with a blow. Vegeta lands several punches on the gray one. Suddenly, Vegeta headbutts that makes Jiren sink to the ground. Jiren recovers and stands up, holding Vegeta's leg, spinning him around and throwing him away, then flying towards him and hit him with several hits. The fight starts to get more and more fierce. Several battles have already taken place, and many warriors had their existence erased. Everyone is fighting valiantly and many enemies are already extremely exhausted. There are currently only 100 participants left. Which participants move to the next stage? What did the mysterious warrior say to Goku? After Goku was challenged to fight when he had barely recovered, Goku then goes towards his enemy, releasing a burst of ki. The enemy dodges all the attacks, and Goku counterattacks using a power that was able to manipulate the minds of his enemies. Goku approaches, and when he strikes, he sees Chi-Chi receiving the impact of his attack. Goku stops and realizes what he had done and says, Chi-Chi, how are you here? Looking deeply at the supposed Chi-Chi says, Goku, why did you hit me? Goku starts shaking, apologizing to Chi-Chi. Chi-Chi then continues to say, and fades in his arms. Goku then stands with Chi-Chi in his arms. And that moment of weakness, Goku is hit by the enemy who starts laughing. you have someone to care about. At that time, the enemy delivers another blow to Goku's stomach. Goku takes a deep breath and concentrates. He remembers that Chi-Chi is on planet Earth with Bulma and the others. So at that moment, Goku gets mad at the enemy and transforms into a Super Saiyan 2. However, he loses control of his actions and attitudes due to the fury he felt. Goku unleashes a wave of ki against his enemy, who is thrown out of the arena. Soon after, Goku, half out of breath, begins to take a deep breath in the middle of the tournament. Goku, after getting extremely anxious, and at that instant, he remembers that moment when that mysterious enemy, as she pulled him by his hair, she whispers something in his ear. Goku starts to retreat from the battle. No, he was understanding that feeling of cold fear, and as if Goku was being drained, as if there was no hope anymore. So Goku stops in the middle of the fight and thinks, I need to control myself. I need to contain myself, but I need to win. After all, it is the fate of the Earth that is at stake. At that moment, the God of Destructions along with Lord Zeno-sama are watching and admiring such mastery. Zeno-sama says,
So there are already 80 contestants left, so this is more interesting than I imagined. We should have more events like this.
Meanwhile, Vegeta is having a tense battle with Jiren, at which point Jiren says, Then I can fight with all my strength. Vegeta, as usual, responds, You can come with everything, you worm, because I will defeat you. Then Vegeta attacks Jiren again, who is not using his full power, and Jiren defends himself with incredible speed. At this point, Jiren raises his hand and Vegeta approaches. He saws off his fist and hits the Saiyan in the face. With just one blow, Vegeta is thrown away. Then Vegeta recovers and lands a blow on Jiren. Final Flash! Jiren is thrown away and is impressed by Vegeta's strength. Then upon recovering quickly, he gets up and starts preparing for battle. However, he's interrupted by a warrior who attacks him. So Jiren says, We'll face each other even more, Vegeta. Until then, don't you dare to die. Meanwhile, we can see Kaba fighting Toppo. The battle is getting harder and harder for Kaba. Toppo is very powerful and has no mercy on his opponent. Then Vegeta says, Kaba, you useless. If you lose, I'll kill you myself. You're taking too long. Get it over with. At that moment, Kaba is distracted and speaks. I'm on my way now, master. Toppo, seeing that Kaba is distracted, launches a blast of energy at Kaba, who is thrown out of the arena. Vegeta tries to save him more already, and too late, Kaba had already had his existence erased. Vegeta feels guilty for having distracted Kaba in the middle of their fight. Vegeta drops to his knee on the ground, feeling guilty, and becomes enraged. Vegeta screams, You damn worm! How dare you throw him out! At that time, Vegeta quickly flies towards Toppo. With a lot of hatred in Vegeta's eyes, he doesn't say anything. He just grabs Toppo by the throat and starts to deliver several blows. Toppo faints, and Vegeta lets go, saying, You insolent. How dare you? At this time, Vegeta is surrounded by 4 more participants at once. Broly, Caulifla, and Kale. Caulifla was still very impressed that Kale has kissed Broly. So Caulifla says, Let's talk about the kissing, Broly. Kale would respond, however she is interrupted by attacks coming towards the 3. Broly feels the evil energy approaching, so quickly Broly grabs Kale's shoulder and pulls her down. The huge sphere of ki brushes past Caulifla's face, who gets nervous and says, Where did that came from? Get ready, Kale. Broly, are you alright? Broly and Kale responds, Yes, we're close. At that moment, the enemy approach, and without saying anything, he starts hitting Broly. And Broly already managed to pass to his second transformation without losing control. It was easy for him to defeat the enemies. Moreover, Caulifla was having difficulties to defeat her opponent. Caulifla says, I will not lose to you. The only one who could stop me was the old man. With rosy cheeks, she keeps saying, And he only managed to defeat me because he caught me off guard. Caulifla launches at her opponent, delivering multiple blows and attacking from multiple directions. However, Caulifla is unconcerned with what was happening. She lets her guard down, opening space for the enemy to attack, who strikes her stomach. She falls to the ground unconscious. Kale, seeing that, runs to help. Kale had as much strength as Broly, and at that time she unleashed an energy sphere on the enemy, who didn't even want to move from the place. The enemy repels Kale's attacks, which begins to sink deeper. The enemy says, Is that all you got? Is that all you have? I thought I could have fun with you because your friend is already out. And then the enemy starts kicking Cauliflower, who remains unconscious. Kale, seeing that, gets angry and attacks the enemy with several blasts of ki. She lands several blows, and the enemy doesn't seem to care about the attacks of Kale. At that time, he takes Kale by the head and starts dragging Kale in the arena. Broly sees that, and with his high speed, he picks up Cauliflower from the ground and puts her sitting in the corner and leaves to look for Kale that she was picking up. Then he stops in front of the enemy, and he says, "Let her go, or I'll kill you." The enemy responds, "Great, maybe you're more interesting than these wimps." Throwing Kale away, the enemy goes on to say, "I thought this tournament was for the strong. Where was Zeno-sama thinking about letting weakling and these little girls participate?" And with a laugh, very evil, he goes on to say, "Come, you only have size anyways." So Broly goes after his enemy, causing him to repent and take back what he says about Cauliflower and Kale. They continue the fight. Broly delivers a blow to the enemy's chest that burns his clothes and leaves him very injured. At this time, Broly grabs the enemy and drags him out of the arena. Broly, holding onto his collar, says, "This is for you to learn to have respect for your enemies and not treat them like dirt." And Broly continues to say, "And that's for Kale and Cauliflower," letting his enemy out of the arena. At this time, there are only a few warriors left. All were fighting their battles when Zeno-sama says,
My warriors, we have reached the end of the second phase of the tournament. Everyone get ready. There are only 50 warriors left. We will do the next phase of the qualifiers, but for now, you can all go to your rooms and rest.
All the warriors stop the fights and go to their rooms. Goku and Vegeta are very tired. When they meet, Vegeta says, "You're still alive, Kakarot. Don't die until I kill you." Embarrassed, Goku starts laughing.
Of course, Vegeta.
When they were about to go to their rooms to vent, the evil emperor enters laughing.
Time. You insect is still alive. That's perfect. So I'll have the pleasure to kill you myself.
Vegeta says, that's what we'll see. Frieza, with a cold look, says,
Just you wait.
Then everyone goes to their room. 20 minutes have passed, and they listen.
Warriors, are you ready for the second phase?
Zeno-sama continues to say,
Good. Now get ready. Everyone go back to the arena and I'll tell you how the second phase of the tournament will work.
All the warriors return to the arena, and the atmosphere starts to get tense. Moments before starting the next step, all Universe 7 warriors advance to the next stage. Some had more difficulties than others, but all managed to do well. Vegeta was still shaken by Toppo. He had defeated Kaba, who fell from the arena and thus was erased. And all Vegeta could think about was revenge. Vegeta isolates himself from the others and decides he doesn't want to talk to anyone. Frieza was furious with Broly. After all, Broly had beaten him up, and that really made Frieza feeling more angry at the Saiyans. But Frieza still hadn't used all his power. He prefers to save his last transformation for a more important moment. Gohan and Piccolo were exhausted, but managed to overcome their limits. Gohan and Piccolo were in the hallway close to their respective rooms when Granola comes closer, and then Gohan asks, "Hey Granola, why didn't we hear about you or seen you in the arena when we started fighting? We thought you had been defeated." Granola then responds, "I can't say what you hear, but I think I got lucky. When the fighting started, I was thrown to the opposite side of the arena. I faced some warriors, but I didn't have many difficulties. I didn't even use up all my energy." Piccolo says, "You really got lucky." Broly was in his room thinking about the things that had happened inside the arena and his new transformation that he had achieved. When you managed to control your powers. When he managed to control his powers. But Broly also thought about Kale. But still, he couldn't get his thoughts out of Shalai, who was waiting for him on this planet. On the other floors of the remaining universes, everything was a little more empty. Kale and Cauliflower were nervous and anxious for the next stage, but they felt sad when they learned that Kaba had been defeated, and that left them very shaken. Cauliflower swears to avenge Kaba. Cauliflower says to Kale, "I'm gonna rip that bastard's mustache off. It was kind of weird and boring, but he was one of us. I will never forgive that bastard." Kale is extremely sad and both are very shaken. Hit is thoughtful and calmly awaits the next phase. On the other floor, Toppo is feeling guilty. After all, he had defeated many warriors and that had messed with his head. Jiren looked out the windows towards the arena. With a cold gaze, he just watches in silence. All the remaining warriors were somehow feeling strange, hovering in the air, and feel very anxious to know the results of this tournament. Meanwhile, the gods of destruction felt completely desolate for not knowing what the outcome of this tournament would be. All the gods were thinking the same thing, that could not be defeated. After all, they would give their all to remain gods. The angels were making improvements and repairs in the arena, which was badly damaged due to the battles that took place. Zeno in his realm is completely excited. His eyes don't stop shining. He couldn't wait to start another phase. Zeno-sama is extremely excited to see the next fights due to the performance of all the warriors. We see Frieza sitting looking out the bedroom window, directly at the throne where Zeno is watching everything. Frieza smiles and says,
Soon that throne will be mine, and absolutely no one will be able to defeat me. The first part of the tournament had some setbacks, and that damn Saiyan almost finished me off. But for what I saw, his absurd power doesn't even come close to the powers I got with the revolution of my Black Frieza form. Ultra Black Frieza. When I face him again, everything will be different. After all, my name is Frieza, the ruler, the emperor of all universes.
Meanwhile, in Vegeta's room, he continues to feel extremely guilty. In his eyes, you can see the fury and hatred that overflows. Goku, meanwhile, tried to recover his energy, but he couldn't stop thinking about what mysterious being had said. And so, at this moment, everyone hears the voice of Daishin-kan. Get ready. Everyone go back to the arena. I will explain the second phase of the tournament. We can see 50 warriors from different universes. Extremely powerful warriors entering the arena. Around, we can observe all the gods of destruction watching. Zeno-sama on his throne, he looks anxiously full of expectations. From the slowly the high priest, he says, "My congratulations to you all for the incredible performance. Zeno Lord-sama is extremely happy with everything that has seen so far. In this next step, we will do another battle royale, which will end when we have 24 warriors. All other rules remain the same. We're going to start right now, so get ready." At that time, all fighters prepare, stopping in combat position, and Daishin-kan asks, "Are you ready? Let the second phase begin." Immediately, all the warriors disperse, each one going to a different place in the arena. Some are already going straight for their rivals. Vegeta, who is thirsty for revenge, advances upwards to the Toppo. Goku starts looking for the mysterious warriors. Granola is attacked by two people at the same time. Several warriors decide to unite so that they can defeat the most powerful. Hit decides to look for Goku. The two Saiyans from Universe 6 are still together facing some enemies, and Broly starts looking for Kale to explain himself to her. At that moment, Gohan and Piccolo were fighting several enemies at the same time. Gohan doesn't wait long to raise his power to the maximum using his latest transformation. And Gohan says to Piccolo, "We can't take it easy, so let's go with everything." Piccolo begins to focus his power and increase his ki. His skin turns orange and his body begins to increase in size. Then he transforms into Orange Piccolo, and the two warriors go after the enemies. Granola, that faced two warriors at the same time, did well, but the fight has just begun. Deviant and Arthur are extremely powerful warriors who always fight in pairs, for their abilities complement each other. They obsess the power of gravity and anti-gravity. Granola punches Deviant, who uses his ability to make the blow lighter and thus weaker. And Arthur uses his skill on Deviant, making that whenever he strikes, his blow become heavier and thus more destructive. Granola begins to have difficulties, but using his speed, he lures them to the edge of the arena. Deviant throws a punch, and at the exact moment he does that, Arthur uses his powers to make it extremely heavy. Granola dodges at the last second. The punch hits the ground, and the arena begins to break apart. At this moment, Granola uses his power, throwing a sphere of ki, hitting them both, eliminating them immediately. Or so Granola thought. Hit finally finds Goku, and Goku is happy to see a known rival. Goku smiles and says, You decided to fight me then. And Hit responds, last time you were lucky and I let my guard down and I couldn't show my real skill. In this tournament, there are no rules that stop me from doing what I do best. As he says this, Hit slowly walks towards Goku. He opened his arms very slowly and continues to say, I am the great assassin of Universe 6, so I can just kill. When he finishes opening his arms and his hands, two swords made with his ki appears. Extremely lethal and powerful swords. At that moment, Hit propels himself towards Goku, who is surprised and says, what is this? I thought we were friends. Hit responds, I wouldn't say friends, but I can't say that I like you, but I have work to do. Hit starts to attack using the swords, attacking from side to side, trying to cut Goku, who dodges. Goku is excited and says, ha, what an incredible technique, Hit! And I can use something like that? So Goku uses his ki to create a protective layer of energy on his arms. And the battle starts to get extremely serious. The countenance of the two change. And Hit, with a cold stare, he looks at Goku and says, won't you transform? And Goku, who already appeared to be out of breath, responds, I don't know if I can. It's been a while since my body has been weird. And even if I regain some energy, my powers are running out easily. But come on, show me everything you got. Hit attacks with his swords with his left hand and Goku manages to block. But Hit uses his infinite time jump and then turns and with his left hand crosses the sword in the belly. Goku spits blood and falls to the ground. Hit says, you're finished. Hit turns his back and starts walking. Hit closes his eyes and says, it was nice fighting you, buddy. But a big explosion happens and an extremely frightening ki appears. It is the three mysterious warriors. And at that moment, their leader says, so that means he can do it too. To be continued. What happened to Goku? Why did that mysterious warrior say that? Regardless of what it is more than important that you already expose it here in your comments so that we can enter into that crazy debate. Click the like button, subscribe here to the channel so you don't miss any videos. And that's it for today. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.